Hello. I never know if I'm on because of all the different steps. I don't know why I don't go straight from OBS, but give me a minute. I don't know, how does this sound? It seems like maybe it's a little too low. I'm not talking too big either. Let me see. I look like a grandma. This is maybe a little too much. I don't know if I can handle this for too long. It feels a little too much. It feels a little too much. Let me see how I'm heard. I haven't done any homework. I haven't figured out how to deal with this new microphone setup, how to listen, because I can connect. I can connect the Scarlett. I can connect headphones to the Scarlett, but I only have one pair of headphones that is way too complicated, too much. And so I need to figure out how to connect it on here. Anyways, happy Monday. It seems like it's working. Wait. It's going to be a little bit of a trial and error. Is this better? This might be a little better. Okay. Oh, because the other thing was that I was hearing in the headphones with a huge delay. That's why I couldn't do that. Anyways, all right. Okay, cool. Tonight it's going to be, I don't know what it's going to be, but I have some stuff to get on my chest. Today was a challenging day. I even got a little notebook. I mean, I had this notebook from the 48-hour film project, and then because I was trying to catch up on 90 Day Fiancé, I was like, oh, let me take notes on this. It was not easy. It was not, I don't know if it was the pen combination with the moving, I don't know, whatever. Maybe it's one of those days where I'm just kind of annoyed at everything. My stomach, I know, is not great because yesterday I forgot, to eat. And so my stomach's not doing great. So maybe that's also why I'm kind of annoyed. But ew, just people sometimes too can be a challenge. And yeah, anyways, but we're here. Hi Maria, hi Arnaldo. Hi, a little update for anyone who cares. I am still not subpoenaed. If I would be subpoenaed on something, it would have to be on YouTube because hi Andrea. Because I do not use anything. Like TikTok was like briefly, but it was in the middle, not at the beginning, and I don't use it anymore. Hi Angel. So yeah, it would have to be through YouTube, and there's nothing new there. But I was looking through the the list of people, and I think it was on TikTok, it's like user 9421 UBS, I don't even know, one of those things. It's not even like a user. So but the thing is, if Blake Lively, this is what we're talking about. Sorry, I don't even do appetizers. I'm going to start properly in a second. I need to get this, I guess, off of my brain right now. If you're going to subpoena people, I just feel like there is no rhyme or reason she's subpoenaing the people that she's subpoenaing. It's a weird word to say also, but I don't find any rhyme or reason. If there is not even fear, I mean, yeah, I guess fear. Yeah, I feel like that's the only one, because if you're trying to find bots or paid content creators or whatever that is set there to influence other content creators and blah, 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 you would have a longer list. And if you, because there's so many, just on chats, just on views alone, you have hundreds of people that you could subpoena if that would be the case. Um, but I don't know. Maybe it's just like a faulty thing about the system, legal system. If I say faulty, because it's not exactly faulty. I don't know. So yeah, but I again, I don't think that I could handle a legal thing now on top of everything else, because I'm barely coming out of not being able to even handle my own self. It's still kind of like a hit and miss with brushing my teeth. So like, I don't think I could handle that, but at the same time, seeing like the popularity that it gives you, it is. I'm gonna be so honest. I feel like at this point, like the people that have been here at least, that I'll be just like very blunt and straightforward. Like, yeah, I'm not feeling I'm feeling relieved, but I'm not feeling like the happiest that I'm not included. Also, because I've talked about my attachment style briefly a little bit. I always said that I'll get more into it, and I didn't. But being fearful of void, and my top fear is being left out. So that's kind of a little bit there. But I think honestly, it's just because it's been such a struggle to get the subscribers. And I'm almost at 3,000 hours. You have to have 500 subscribers and 3,000 watch hours. Sorry, my laptop is not plugged in. All right. So you have to have 3,000 watch hours, public watch hours on videos, not on shorts, and 500 subscribers. And I'm almost at the watch hours, but I am in, like, not even inching, nano inching. Is that a thing? Nano inches? Nanometers? I'm like so slowly increasing now. But it comes in bouts. So I don't know. Whatever. And I think also because I'm not as set on Blake Lively. It might confuse the algorithm or just like people watching. But it's just been hard. It's been hard to just focus on her. All right, so linking on to the starters. Linking on to what does that even mean? I don't know. Hold on. Did I finish that? I don't think I finished this. Nope, I hadn't. Now I have the chat. Okay. I brought all my little graphics. I had cleaned my laptop before 48, so some I guess I took away. I love organization, but I'm not the best at it. So appetizers. Well, kind of before appetizers or starters, whatever. So we are at 237 subscribers today. Need to reach 500. So if you're watching this and you've been watching my videos for a while, consider subscribing. And happy Monday. Drop a dolphin in the comments for the replay crew. And then that's kind of it as far as starters. I'll get on to movies and things in a second. There are out of options to find proof of a smear campaign. Desperation mode. Yeah, that's what it looks like. But it's not really fair, is it? I mean, it's fair as far as like, oh, people get subscribers and stuff. You could say, well, it balances out, but also, again, it depends on how far it'll go as far as legal information, like your legal name, etc., etc., etc. That some people don't really want to provide. I don't. That's why I'm like, I'm glad I'm not on the list, but also the subscriber is very tempting. But I'm also glad I'm not on the list. I don't know. All right, so do I have? Oh, I have my little stress-free tea or whatever. I forget what it has, but it has roses and lavender, I think, and something else, and passion fruit. Because yeah, like I said, it's been a day. Um, yeah, I'm not gonna talk about it. Okay, so TV and movies. I am debating on watching. It's there's not many movies that I want to watch right now that are on, but I have to use by the 26th. I have to use my free or $10 off thing for the movies. So I was thinking of very reluctantly Jurassic World, even though I love did I love the first one? I don't remember. I don't remember. I loved Moulin Rouge, not the same thing, but that's what I remember. Around that time, was it even at the same time? I don't know, but as a kid, yeah, I loved Moulin Rouge. I loved Moulin Rouge. So, but I think I liked Jurassic World or Jurassic Park. But yeah, between that and Superman, which I am also not a fan, and there was another one. I don't know. There's just not much to see. If there's a movie that you guys are interested in me, in my opinion, I haven't even posted yet. Oh my gosh, this week is going to be crazy insane. I haven't even posted the review. I might just post it. What is that? I might just post it without any edit. The Life of Chuck review, Materialists, and that was almost done. That was almost finished, edited, and whatever else. Did I see something else? Oh, and Mission Impossible. I think I had. I don't know. Whatever. So yeah. I just found out today. Avatar is coming this winter. Avatar 4, whatever Avatar we're on. And then 2029 and 2031. I thought maybe because of the other ones, I thought that the next one will not be this year, but the year after this year. So next year. Why did I say that complicate? Can't even talk. Complicatedly. So yeah, I thought it was going to be that way, but I guess it's not. Which I'm excited, but I'm kind of disappointed that I don't have like another year to prepare for it. Because I think it was last year that the other one came out. I don't know. I love Avatar, and yeah. Ted Lasso season 4 is officially filming. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's a feel good show. I think we need that right now with the news, with Blake Lively, with a lot of things. It's a show. When I say feel good, I mean like reminds you that there are humans in the world, because right now it seems like there's not many humans in the world, and it reminds you of that. And then I started watching this show called Too Much on Netflix, and my unofficial review is it's crap. That's my unofficial review. Um, it started off promising. I really liked the first episode, or maybe even two. It was like, oh, interesting. Um, it just got stupid and just I don't know. Keep saying it. I need to find better ways and better descriptions of what I mean, but it just got just unrelatable and full of itself. There were drugs. They like coming out of nowhere. Like, why was that even in? It made no sense. Like, it just popped up. It has a big cast. Like, there were all these famous actors. Naomi Watts is in this episode with these like random drugs. Like, what are we doing? What is that? It's just yeah, I guess I almost want to give it a star because it's unexpected. You really, when you think it's going to go one way, it's going to go another way. um but yeah, and um What else? Yeah, I don't know. It's just I don't like it. I don't like it. I was really hoping like the premise or what I thought the premise was kind of interesting and exciting, and then it was just like underwhelming. It just really sucks. It's really not good. So, yeah. That's it on my movie review. Did I put the movie review thing? No, shoot. I didn't. There you go. Movie reviews. Oh, but yeah, Avatar also the game that's coming out. Whoopsie. I logged myself out. Uh, okay. So I'm gonna go with general news because the Blake Lively thing is. I kind of talked about it. We'll read through it a little bit because the subpoenas have been put up and what it requires and so forth and whatnot. But I'm going to just go straight into. I'm just going to keep my little timeline for today. Also, before that, quick little celebrity news. Astronomer CEO thing. Popcorn Planet was saying their thumbnail or whatever was like, is it too much? That's a very good question. What do you guys think? Because Andy has a point as far as at the end of the day, this is a human being. And though he did something that we consider really wrong and most of the world and probably their spouses, and he himself probably is aware that's wrong, obviously, by the way they're reacted. But yeah, he's still a human being. To be mocked, I guess, by everyone in the world. Like I saw the Lammy fountain pen one. Like when it hits that much, it's like beyond the global trend. And so I do kind of agree that it might be a little bit too much for him, but at the same time, and I'm not a big punish the cheater person. I don't really have that trigger, I guess. I don't know. Um I don't know if I've ever been cheated on. Maybe that's why too. I've never had kind of that in my vicinity. Maybe that's why it's not a huge trigger. I don't think it's right. I have my strong opinions. I think in a cheating situation, I mean, in this case, both are wrong, but if only one person has a relationship or spouse, I think most of the responsibility, like 90% of the responsibility, is on that person that has a relationship. And the idea of like, oh, home wrecker and all that stuff, which is also very gender biased, I don't subscribe to that. Um, I think that I used to think when I was younger more simplistically, like, just break up with a person, just divorce. Why would you cheat if you want to cheat? Just stop being with the other person first. And then you grow up and you're like, oh, okay, it's a little bit more nuanced. It's not right, but it's more nuanced. People have their triggers, have their issues, have their issues. And sometimes those issues don't let them make the best decisions and the most moral decisions. Their fears, etc., etc. I don't know if that's applicable here, but because you could say, well, this is like CEO, this is top of the top. And yeah, maybe it could be that way. Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is like I don't feel like, oh yeah, like for anyone who's seen 90 Day Fiance, which is not most of you here, Rob on 90 Day Fiance, the moment that cheating, and especially a woman cheating, gets brought up, he like just turns into Shrek. Like, not literally, but he just turns into a complete different person. Like The Mask. Yeah. Also green. He doesn't turn green, but he just like is just like super triggered by cheating. And yeah, I don't think it's that it's horrible for the people involved, but I don't think like, yes, this person, this guy, this woman, they need to be punished. They're horrible human beings. They're like not even human. um and I was listening to something actually that uh talks about what's going on with ICE and deportations or whatever, and talking about how when you're like putting people, you're making them be less human in your eyes because you're associating them with doing something horrible, like they're criminals. That's what Trump kept saying, like we will, get this country rid of criminals. But then he is more about like skin color and ethnicity and stuff, so then criminal records and all that. So but like for people, when they imagine these people as criminals, they they don't mind and even rejoice in a way that they're, living in really bad conditions in these deportation centers and so forth. And because they're not human in their minds anymore, like it's just a human condition. It's the brain, the it used to be called the lizard brain, but that when you're talking about politics, that can have a different connotation. And I don't have that, and I we'll get into general news. Um, I I I just don't get that. I mean, I get it logically. I just don't get it at the end of the day, because they're still humans. I don't know, but I'm the one that, like watched the Ted Bundy movie and was like curious about that, and was seeing yeah, I was more curious than like, oh, this is like a, not even human being, and he needs to like go bye bye, because I don't want to say the word, or like he should be tortured or whatever like that. So um yeah, that's my thoughts on the astronomer. I don't think that it should go that far, but at the same time, I do find it interesting, and I don't find it that too much as far as the trends. Maybe that he got it's interesting. Maybe that he got laid off. That's an interesting turn, because I know personally for sure. Oh, I wish, when um I was involved more or less a satellite to someone who was cheating on their significant other, they didn't have any consequences. So I am kind of secretly happy about that, I guess. But also at the same time, the moment that I heard that, my first reaction was more hurt for him, because that's like, that sucks, you know. And I also am kind of confused, because I am also the person that says Bill Clinton, for example, like what's a just because he had this affair and he had like this whole thing, that's not, it's to me, it shouldn't get in the way of him being a president. Shouldn't be impeached for it, blah 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 blah. Especially what we've seen since, like right now, there's like worse things and more directly affecting um the people of the country as a president, whatever they do. I don't know why I'm talking so weird today. I think again I'm like out of breath, stomach stuff, whatever. And this thing, and it's kind of weird, and I'm kind of like feeling different, like, so also this thing at first didn't even work, this pop filter. I hope it even works, because I'm definitely not minding the p sounds. um so yeah, I did feel more pain, I guess, for the guy losing his job. I do find it interesting that she didn't. I also find it very interesting that she is the only woman on the C-suite roster, And I don't find it interesting, like, oh, because she was sleeping with him. I find it interesting as, like, gender inequality interesting. Like, that is messed up. That is messed up. And even potentially, like, maybe that's why this stuff happened, because there's only guys there. And it's, I don't know if it's always, the most moral, like, way, when there's only guys in positions of power. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just like literally just spitting everything out as I think about it. Yeah. So yeah, is it too much? Is it not too much? Him, both of them really being plastered all over by everyone. I know my acting school was posting something, and that was one of the things that just gave me a headache, because I'm gonna be honest, like, this person, it seemed like she did it out of spite, that she didn't even try. And I was kind of like short fused by that time, because I was trying to balance so many things, and I wasn't really ego coaxing hat on for this girl. But like, it just, the way that she is and she responds to things and everything, I just felt like it was passive aggressive, that she didn't even put in like the minimal amount of effort. And I also wonder if she's getting away with that because other people think they don't know enough, because it's sometimes how people present themselves, and sometimes like people really present themselves like they're a genius and they're an expert when they're not. But to people that don't know any better, they're like, oh, okay, like, yeah, she's an expert, he's an expert, so I'm just gonna go with it. Like, who am I to question that? And yeah, I'm also entering that time in my life where I'm like just over it, and I'm not going to sugarcoat that much. Also with like the filmmaking and just so much, I've just been very tired to be the quiet, scared to speak up kind of person, and wanting to be the good girl kind of thing. um I still want to be respectful. I don't want to be going to war with anyone, but I also just don't want to fake it or to like put up with manipulation. And I just feel like this girl is like manipulating everyone, so it was just take deep breaths, and not my problem kind of thing right now. So, yeah, but we all even kind of joined into that trend with the CEO at Astronomer, which I don't really. Andy was like, "Oh, this is a great company." I don't see the greatness of it, but anyways. All right, so um that was not movie review, but now we are going to talk about general news as a segue. All right. So I don't know what I saw that I think I was watching just random news or like news commentary things today on YouTube. And someone was saying that Pierce Morgan was basically a Trump supporter. And I was like, I didn't get that from him, but I don't watch him regularly. And I know he's controversial and he is crazy bold with whatever he does and says. So I'm like, okay, maybe. So let's check it out. I didn't really get that far into figuring this out. Um, I just saw, I think 2 days ago, I think he had a video of an interview between Bill O'Reilly. Oh, what am I? What is going on? Bill O'Reilly and Eric Weinstein. I really think it's this thing. It's making me not be really myself, because I can't even, like, I have to, like, I feel like I have to just like sit here like this too. I don't know. Oh boy. Try to kind of make it less in the way. It's, I don't know. Is that better? Kind of, maybe. It seems I'm just going off like the levels that I see here because I don't know. Anyways, so Pierce Morgan, Bill O'Reilly. I don't know much. I know the name. I know the person. I think he is someone that is. Was he a Fox News person? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Um, both had some good things that they said that were really like good morsels of thought, and things that were not good morsels of thought. um, so we'll start with Bill O'Reilly. So I do have. Let me share my screen. Oh shoot! I didn't put. Did I put the topic thing on? Okay. Whew. All right. Great. Awesome. So I'm going to cover this later. I'm just gonna go. If it's letting me. Journal news. So this is not him. I actually don't have any clips of the Bill O'Reilly part. But this is Eric something. What's his name? I don't know. There was a lot said, but the two things that I wrote down basically were one of the things was regarding Putin. P and T sounds in English drive me mad still. Anyways, that guy and Trump and how Bill O'Reilly is coming out with a book apparently on this guy that I can't pronounce right now because I have like a lot of stuff going on. um Putin. Okay, there you go. I think also because I'm conscious of the P's and all that stuff. And how Bill O'Reilly called him a psychopath, that he did all this like violent stuff from the beginning, etc., etc. By the way, I saw this like Instagram post how the same percentage of CEOs that are psychopaths are it's the same percentage that are in jail that are psychopaths. And it was kind of like a commentary on, you know, CEOs or business owners or whatever are bad, is kind of what it was alluding to. And I thought after watching that video on the sociopath clinical psychologist and how she was talking about things, I was like, did they confuse sociopathy with psychopathy? Maybe. I don't know. But maybe, I don't know. I don't know the percentage. I don't know. I know it used to be 2% of general population. I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, things are not great on the business world side. But anyway, so he has like talked with Trump, telling him like, hey, this guy, like, you can't negotiate with him, like, he, especially now, like, mental decline, blah blah blah, whatever, something something or another, and he is like beyond being negotiated with. I mean, and it also doesn't take you that much to see. I mean, it's been how many years? I can't believe it. Feels like it's only been a few months. I don't know why I'm kind of still at, oh, that war started just a few months ago. I don't know why. It always like surprises me that it's been, let's see how many years. Oh, AI mode, not interested. Or maybe I will be interested. I don't know. It's not been 11 years. No. 2022. It's been like 3 years. I guess technically since 2014 there was an escalation, blah 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 blah. But like what we're talking about it is primarily since 2022, I think. So like the invasion launch, etc. And yeah, so they're talking about sanctions again, and I'm like, didn't we go through this? Like, I know that Trump is all about like, let's everything that Biden did, Obama did, is just like cut that out. But like people are also losing their lives at the same time. So it's like, do we really need to like start from zero and go through the same motions? I don't know, but I think Trump really believed that he had, a good relationship enough to de-escalate the conflict and negotiate. Because his whole thing, The Apprentice, if you haven't seen that movie, I still highly recommend it. The whole thing is about the art of the deal. So I think he just like thought, okay, I'm like the best deal maker. I will make a deal with Putin. Like, I will be the savior, in kind of that sort of sense. And so maybe that's what happened. But anyways, so that was like that. And then they started talking about Gaza, and Pierce was saying that, at the beginning, he felt like, okay, Israel needs to defend themselves after October 7th, etc. But now it feels disproportionate. And Bill O'Reilly said that not so much. Actually, you know what? Out of the two, I feel like Bill O'Reilly was indeed a little bit more had more integrity. Not, I think both had integrity, but like as far as like he was more neutral, not neutral, but more neutral, because he said that what Netanyahu wants and his government wants is to eliminate Hamas so they can't come back at all. To which I said, stupid, because why does Hamas exist? If you didn't have people that were struggling, you wouldn't have groups like them. So I'm just saying. Anyways, and then he said that I didn't know. I didn't understand this, because even though in the U.S. we've done how many years of World War II history, like that's basically the only history we studied was Hitler. So like I still don't have any idea what he was talking about when he said that because Hamas hides behind civilians just as Tojo and Hitler did in World War II. Who is Tojo? Why did I never hear this name? Why did I not know about this? After learning about it every year in history in high school and middle school. Anyways, and we had to wipe out millions of civilians in Germany and Japan to defeat those heinous people. Why can't I don't know, whatever. And I need to look at I should have looked into that before coming on here, but I'm like, I don't understand what that means. At the same time, I feel like since then I feel like we have a different perspective on the responsibility as America, as this, as that, on how much to mess with other people's business. And this is the first time I'm hearing about it. Yeah. But he calls himself as the number one historian novelist or whatever. So I guess maybe that's why. I'm gonna look that up now. Maybe I'll ask ChatGPT. What is this? What is this thing? But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I think we have like just more a different take on how much we should, what any country, any major world power should get involved and should mess with other people's stuff. Like, which is an interesting, obviously nuanced thing when you're thinking about World War II, because that was like, it was just horrible and it was just escalating and escalating. And but I don't know. I need to find out what he's saying. This is going to challenge ChatGPT because my prompt makes no sense. So, but it came through. So, Hideki Tojo, Prime Minister of Japan in 1941 to 44, also a top general in the Imperial Japanese Army. He was essentially the military leader who authorized and oversaw Japan's aggressive expansion across Asia and Pacific, which also I learned only in the last few years. This is like American history education. This is why we're in the issue that we're in, because we didn't do any history. We did not learn any history or English, apparently. Especially if you see all the grammarly.com ads. It's like, look professional. It's like, maybe go to school and let's have school actually teach us how to properly speak and look professional instead of using AI to do so. But yeah, so I forgot even what I was saying. Oh, because I didn't know that Japan was such a major attacker in Asia. That China was the victim of Japan, because it's like little Japan. So, but anyways, yeah. So that was him, and obviously we know who Hitler is. At least that we have been like taught, but not enough, because here we are in the U.S. So I guess he's talking about the nuclear weapons, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, um, blah 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 blah. Again, I feel like right now, gosh, I'll say, I'll reserve to say what I said later. Um, but he also said that sometimes it's both wrong, or like there is no right and wrong. That it's a very complicated issue. So I have respect for him, a lot of respect for him, Bill O'Reilly, for saying that, because it is very complicated. And many people just say, oh, Hamas started it, or Israel started it, or whoever. And it's really like, it just is such a long history and all that stuff. So, yeah. Anyways. And then before you get to this guy, Eric Weinstein, um, Pierce asked Bill O'Reilly how he thinks about like two major news issues or whatever. The first one being Candace Owens' theory that Brigitte Macron is like male or female. I'm like, why is this news? This should not even have a second of air. Besides, on Candace Owens, okay, fine, that's her show. She can say whatever, but this should not even. What does that do to our life? How does that matter? How does that affect our lives as like a global population, or the population of France, if the president's wife is a guy or a girl? How does that, like a trans woman, or like whatever she said? I don't even know what she said, but how, why is this newsworthy, speech worthy, etc., etc.? Which Bill O'Reilly basically said the same thing. He's like, I'm not even going to like entertain that. What I thought it was interesting that he said was that he does not, I forget the exact words, but he does not couple up with, or whatever. He doesn't go into the swamp with the swamp creatures, the internet swamp creatures. And I don't know if I would go that far. I mean, Candace is, an acquired taste that is really maybe not necessarily needing to be acquired ever. But I don't know if he meant just that, or just like internet in general. And I may be sensitive a little bit with all the Blake Lively attack on content creators being whatever we were supposed to be. So, yeah. And then he said this, that he's the best selling historical author in the world. ChatGPT says not exactly. I didn't think so. But I also don't know that much about historical books or whatever. But he's ChatGPT says I just called ChatGPT a he. Depends on how you define historical author. If you're talking about popular history written for a mass audience, he's definitely up there, but still not the top one. But if you include historians globally, then it's more competitive. Like Yuval Noah Harari, I don't know how to pronounce probably any of these. Anthony Beaver, Stephen Ambrose, Doris Kearns Goodwin, etc. Never heard of these people. Global sales and equaling different ball game. Sorry, I didn't do my homework as usual. So Bill O'Reilly sales are huge in the US, but not globally. Authors like Yuval Noah Harari or whatever that wrote *Sapiens* has sold over 25 million copies worldwide in dozens of languages. Stephen Hawking, A Brief History of Time, One More Science Than History, has sold also over 25 million copies, but they don't say how much he has sold. So, all right. Anyways, didn't think so. Yeah. And then the other one is like Elmo's X account being hacked, spewing anti-Semitic thoughts, which, again, why is this news? Why did this even happen? I don't know. And Bill O'Reilly said that his answer was, I'm happy that I'm not going to have to be paying for Elmo's lunch or salary any longer. I was like, ooh, okay, now I know why we don't like Bill O'Reilly. And he said, let them compete in the open market like you and me. So I'm like, okay, so we need more capitalism, more greed, more made up scarcity, more like pitting people against each other, more like just bad type of life. That's what we need. I don't think so. Oh gosh, sorry. I don't have words when I get that riled up. It just really bothered me, that whole thing. Like, no, we do not need that. Especially for Elmo, freaking Elmo. I actually, fun fact, I don't think I've never seen Sesame Street besides like a couple of like seconds. I don't think I've ever seen Elmo on Sesame Street though. Ever. Like I've seen Big Bird, I've seen the trash monster guy, the cookie monster, the vampire. Yeah, that's all I've seen from Sesame Street. And then we get to Eric Weinstein. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's a mathematician or something. I don't really know why he's on here and why he's talking about the things that he's talking about. He also confused Romania with Croatia or Serbia. So I don't know why he's on here. But as a result, I learned something new because you say Romania, my ears perk up, and I'm like, oh, let me look that up. So, he said this interesting phrase. This is where we're at here. He was talking about nuclear weapons basically, and Iran and Israel, and how like on the brink of World War III we are, and how basically how much stronger Iran is than we think. Because he also kind of got the same question, like, what do you think about Gaza and everything? So yeah, okay. Here's his little answer.
Yeah, we're on the clock. I mean, look, I get tired of being the only one saying this, but there is no fourth turning principle after 1952 when we have thermonuclear weapons. So the way it goes is hard times make strong men make good times and nuclear weapons. Good times make weak men and nuclear weapons make end times. And that's the end of it.
He sounds like one of those scholars. He sounds like a scholar, yeah. Never heard that. And also, I don't know what to feel about that. I have thoughts about this like strong and weak situation coming up.
And so we've been in the stasis for a really long time. And the world has never, civilization has never ended due to thermonuclear warfare. So it's in no one's data set. So everyone who's data driven says, oh, I wouldn't worry so much about it, because they're just not getting it.
Which I think is fair. I think that's how things went with COVID, because we never really had a precedent like that of that. I think the Spanish flu was maybe, but that was like, oh, but that was different times. Now we have, all this modern medicine, blah blah blah. So, yeah, I think we kind of took it for granted at the beginning too. Perhaps some people, some like me, not so much. But yeah, that's a good point. One of the few good points I feel like he made. And then he said that he thinks that Israel needed to annex more land day by day until hostages were released. And basically that Pierce here has been manipulated into feeling bad for the Palestinians. Unless I understood wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what he said. So, yeah. He said that Western Europe has taken a phrase I think originally came from the Romanian languages. It did not. Spoiler alert. It's very recent in origin, called ethnic cleansing, and it's not very recent. Particularly in Google Enneagrams or whatever he said, it spiked in Balkan Wars. It used to be, which he contradicted himself. Sorry, I'm picking him apart because I don't like the general kind of sentiment that he has. But like, it spiked during the Balkan Wars, but it was there before. But it just kind of gained popularity during that time, more recent times. Anyways, it used to be what we understood, that you have to move people who cannot live in peace. This is why the Sudeten Germans, for example, were moved in Europe so that we didn't get into another European world war, which technically wouldn't be a world war, but I guess it was, sort of. Yeah. After the Potsdam agreements. He said a lot of things in there. But basically, my issues. One, it's not Romanian. Let me pull that up for you. Let me pull the history of it. The term ethnic cleansing, a literal translation of the Serbo-Croatian phrase etniko Senja, I don't know Slavic languages, was widely employed in the 1990s, though the term first appeared earlier, to describe the brutal treatment of various civilian groups in the conflicts that erupted upon the disintegration of the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. These groups included Bosniaks, Bosnian Muslims, I guess in specific, in Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbs in the Krajina region of Croatia. I am probably butchering these words, but just bear with me. And ethnic Albanians and later Serbs in the Serbian province of Kosovo. The term also has been attached to the treatment by Indonesian militants of the people of East Timor, many of whom were killed or forced to abandon their homes after citizens were voted in favor of independence in 1999, and to the plight of Chechens who fled Grozny and other areas of Chechnya following Russian military operations against Chechen separatists during the 90s. According to a report issued by United Nations Secretary General, the frequent occurrence of ethnic cleansing in the 90s was attributable, wow, I can't speak today, to the nature of contemporary armed conflicts in which ethnic cleansing as a concept has generated considerable controversy. Some critics see little difference between it and genocide. However, argue that ethnic cleansing and genocide can be distinguished by the intent of the perpetrator, whereas the primary goal of genocide is the destruction of an ethnic, racial, or religious group. The main purpose of an ethnic cleansing is the establishment of ethnically homogeneous lands which may be achieved by any of a number of methods, including genocide. Don't really see the difference personally. I don't see the difference at all. Unless you're saying that with ethnic cleansing, you just want them to go away so they can go away, versus with genocide, you just want to like eradicate them because like if they go away in another place of the world, like that's still not okay for you. Maybe that's what they're trying to say, but otherwise I don't see the difference. This was supposed to kind of say kind of that, but anyways, not Romanian. Fun fact for this guy, Romania is not a Slavic language, mostly, and also not a new term, and it just kind of made it seem like these weaklings nowadays, you know, they're not, because he said something else coming up, I think. Yes. So he was kind of challenged on that, I think, a little bit by what's his name here, by Pierce. Sorry, do I have another one? What does he say here?
And when I was talking to people in Tel Aviv, they could.
Was it that?
And the other thing that, you know, is just very interesting is that Western Europe has taken a phrase, I think.
Yeah. I don't like this guy. I don't like him. Fake news.
Not actually synthesize a particular, I don't know, seriousness of purpose. They were on the beaches during the day, in the shelters during the night.
Okay, I'll get to that. Sorry, got ahead of myself. So I guess I didn't exactly take out this part. So he said, Pierce says basically that like he's seen all these images of dismembered people, or I think Eric kind of assumes this is what Pierce is talking about, but he says that he feels it's a little disproportionate, blah blah blah. And Eric's answer was that, you know, they're kind of the same age, and he remembers that the imagery of Vietnam reporting photographs of monks on fire, of kids naked in the street, blah 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 blah, that came right through the evening news. And he says, this Eric guy, listen to what he says. He says that we were a much tougher people, and that seems to have been lost. And so now we're weaklings, that we care about people in other places of the world, and we don't want people dying, and we don't want people suffering. I know I'm kind of like jumping, but I'm not really. The other thing, a world of adults hardened by World War II, people who understood the stakes of the Cold War. And this is where I do kind of agree with him. But at first I didn't know what he meant, because I thought he said that, again, we're weak people because we're not lacking empathy for others. But what he in fact meant by that part was that there's trivialization of war right now. And that's the clip here, where people are kind of living their life as if the conflicts that are happening are not happening, and the gravity of war and what is happening is not happening. And he says that the phone not only gives us information, but it gives our lives a fictional video game feel. And on some level, we're not taking seriously the gravity of the situation, even if we're living through it. So people in Tel Aviv, I'll let him continue here.
They couldn't figure out that this was, in some sense, on the clock. They were having these hypersonic missiles slam into their city, and they were also continuing life as if it wasn't happening. The phone appears to be...
And then he says what I just said. And so I thought that was like a very good point, because we don't, I think we just don't know how to handle things right now. One, because we do see so much more. We don't see just the news, and we don't see just the evening news. There's news 24/7. A. B. There's social media. He talked earlier about how what Netanyahu, I think it was him, or Bill, I think it was him, didn't really understand, still doesn't understand that the Palestinians and Hamas, the way that they're kind of fighting this war is by showing the carnage that is happening, and posting things online, and basically appealing to the heartstrings of people in the Western world, I think he calls it all the time. And Netanyahu is just kind of like old school, and doesn't get why he's kind of losing popularity and support. I still don't think that's the point of why people are not supporting Israel, and they're speaking against him, really, and his supporters. But I do find it interesting. I do think that's an interesting point, as far as like the last thing that he said, that we're kind of living life as normal, but these atrocities are also happening. Like I kind of explained when I came back from the 48-hour film project over the weekend, and suddenly I got back to real life, and like all of these people being taken by ICE, and you know, I haven't really seen that much about, and I kind of don't look at the videos of people, in really bad conditions in Palestine, because I get it, and the point is that shouldn't be happening. I don't need to see those conditions to know that it shouldn't be happening. So I don't really look at that, but it was a shock in a way, and it was. I remember thinking quite a few times lately, like, this is really weird, that, like, how I thought of how, almost like I was speaking to my brain, how are we doing this? How are we men? Is this how we should be doing? Like, talking about Blake Lively, going to Zumba. Hi, April. Sorry, happy Monday. You came in on such a lovely note. Sorry. Um, but yeah, like it's weird. Like and because we also talk a lot more about mental health. So, like, we're aware that on some degree we do have to protect our mental health, you know? Um, but at the same time, it is really weird that we are just scrolling on social media. He kind of goes into, like, you know, even if you're like aware, let me see what he says, because he says it better than I could say it, I think.
And at some level, we aren't taking seriously the gravity of the situation. Even if we are living through it, we're simultaneously watching it out our window and on our phone, and somehow our brain is prioritizing, oh my God, this will make a great Instagram story.
I don't think we say this will make a great Instagram story. I think most of us are sharing because it's like, oh my gosh, like, this is all I feel like I can do, or I think I can do. And if I post things enough, some people will make it stop, that have more power in making it stop, which I think it's not working that way. But I don't think we revel in other people's, like, misery, not mystery. And I think this is kind of what I was hi Maria, I'm sorry. This is kind of what I was saying, I wanted to say to this guy, that he's missing. It is not about being manipulated into having emotion and empathy for these people. It is not being weak and weakened. Some of us, I feel like, and I will be kind of blunt in my opinion, this is my opinion though, but I believe that it is a form of evolution, that we have kind of evolved past, I need land, and I need power, and I need more money, and I need to be above you, and I need blah, 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 blah. And I need a guy that has, like, wide shoulders, and I need a girl that has big hips, and all these things that were kind of like for biology reasons more so. And we actually have more empathy. And it's not about I don't think we have to even see these people being tortured or unalived or dismembered or whatever. I think to some degree, like maybe the initiator, I don't know, but I don't, that wasn't my first imagery that I had that was like, oh my gosh, no. In my mind, in my opinion, I feel like some of us have evolved past that stupid, pointless killing each other and being bullies and being about like, I own this, I need more, I need more, I need to be above to survive. And we've kind of evolved more towards like, oh, coexisting, cohabitating, loving each other, equality. We can all live together. We're all the same, we're equal, etc., etc. I think that's kind of what's happening that people don't kind of get. So when he's talking about like, oh, people were like stronger or tougher back in the day, they were seeing, these monks on fire and these kids naked, I don't know, something with napalm in the streets, whatever, in the Vietnam War. And they were like, they understood that it just needed to happen for the greater good or whatever. I think we just evolved into thinking maybe the greater good is less violent, and that might not be the greater good. That might be just the good of certain countries or certain powers. That's just like my opinion. I don't know. And I do think of that idea of, and I had to Google it. I don't know if that's what one guy was mentioning, but Google said viral rebound or viral recrudescence or something, where, and I just had that happen in December, when like you're fighting the virus, it kind of dies down and then like it spikes back up. You have the fever again, stronger, you feel worse than maybe even at the beginning, and then it just completely goes away. And there was like this one guy that said that about Trump and his supporters. Not even Trump. Again, he's like a symptom. He's not really the leader. Or like he's the leader of the symptom, but yeah. But he didn't create these people or create this movement. But yeah, so he was talking about how it might be that with what's going on now as far as racism and all this stuff. And it's just kind of coming up to the surface, and it's like this like last dying breath, and grasping for the last straw until it goes away. And same with Blake, right? We just started talking about that at the beginning. And Maria, I think you were saying, no, Arnaldo, sorry. Arnaldo, you're saying like this is kind of like her desperation mode, and like holding on, just like last resorts of sorts. And I feel like that's like globally what's happening. I just don't know that civilization, the world, people have evolved enough to be able to be the whites. Like, I don't know if we have enough white blood cells to defeat the virus. This is what I'm trying to say. But I think that it's not weakness. I think we just see things better. There was another Instagram post that I saw earlier that was talking about, this guy was like, I don't understand why like people against Trump go to college. Like everyone who goes to college is against Trump or something like that. And I was like, so not true. I remember in his first election how people were shocked that people that had gone to college, had degrees, were voting for him, because they're like, how can they not see this? How can they not see clearer? And B, it's interesting that like, because I guess in his mind, in this guy's mind, it was like, what did they teach you there, is what he said. Like, people are basically indoctrinated into a cult or something. And it's really kind of like missing the point that they're just learning more. The more knowledge you have, you might see better. And the guy was like, well, I think that they teach inclusivity and something else. And he's like, yeah, wokeness. And again, I just like find that so weird. Like being awake is an insult. Like, how did that happen? I think I find it even more funny because I almost want to make this joke, but I don't think anyone will like get it, and I don't know how to phrase it because I'm bad at jokes. But in Romania, our national anthem it literally is called "Wake Up Romanian," Deșteaptă-te Române, and it's all about wake up and being awake and all this stuff. So I'm like, in my mind, I have to find the joke about that because I feel like America needs to, get to that, next level of being awakened, being, woke, and stuff. Okay. Anything else before I go to the chats? Sorry, because my notes were like all over the place. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, okay. All right. Sorry. Hi, April. More proper hi. Maria, this is all insane. The government is actually acting like children fighting in a sandbox. People's lives are not toys. Yeah. Yeah. I think Trump definitely sounds like a grandpa all the time. Um, I find that so interesting and endearing in some way, but also terrifying. That is kind of how he sees it. Um, but yeah, um, college definitely can teach you to question things. Just depends on what things you're questioning. Yeah, I think college is so open ended because it depends on the professors you have. It depends on the like majors you major in, or it depends on so much. The people that you're around, the friends that you make, the activities you partake in, the location of the college. There's so many variables that, not all college, just even in this area that I grew up in here in the US, like even in this radius, people would learn, like some people learn geography in school. I never learned geography and I used to love geography. When Facebook first started, there used to be this one game where you had to guess what, I think it was like what capital of what country, or it gave you the country and you had to guess the capital of it or point it on the map or something like that. It was so cool. Never had geography. Some people had physics and some people didn't in school. Some people had like it's so open ended. But ideally, I think it just opens you up to thinking a bit more, because you continue having more stuff thrown at you, like different books or different ideas, theories, different subjects, because you have all these majors that, like accounting, hate it, but like that's something you don't, some people had actually in high school, but not generally you don't have in high school. So it can like broaden your mind in that way. But I know like there are some people, I know one person that was just wanted to be an actor, and he was just so upset that he had to learn like history and just basic science and English. All he wanted to do was just learn acting, and I'm like, first of all, I'm just gonna say again bluntly, if you want to be an actor, the best thing you can do is learn as many different fields as possible, because what is acting? Acting is being other people. So if you're going to play a physicist, you might be thankful that you took a physics 101 class at least, or an astronomy class, because that's probably more likely the role. Or things like that. So like, rejoice in having all of that there for you so you can learn from it. But I have heard that sentiment. So there are those people too that don't even get much from college because they're like, why do I need to learn math if I want to be a history teacher, or like if I want to do be an English teacher or whatever, or the opposite. And it's like, yeah, it's also, I feel like we just need better marketing for college and for like achieving our dreams. I think back at what I learned about that 10,000 hours thing. That's a myth. That is rarely how it happens. The people that invent things, the people that are that end up being leaders of some sort, the people that are that make breakthroughs or are good screenwriters or are good at whatever they do, they, or even like basketball players or whatever, they get to be that good because they had different experiences. They worked in different fields before, and suddenly they put all of the knowledge that they learned, all the skills that they learned from all these other fields, into the one that maybe fits more to them, and it all just comes together and boom. So yeah, that's what I mean. Like, we need better marketing for college. I think instead of focusing on like, no, you just need to do, if you want to be a basketball player, you just need to just be on the basketball court as much as possible, or like piano, you just need to practice the piano over and over again. Maybe to an extent that is true, but like maybe like, you know, if you want to be a pianist, maybe going on the basketball court can teach you something about rhythm, or about like uh, I don't know, you know, and vice versa. So yeah, it's stuff like that that I feel like we need to unlearn and relearn differently. I was an English major, so all I did was ask questions and analyze text and positions, then minored in history, so I knew about the happenings of the world over time. That's really awesome. Did you know about this Tojo guy? I don't think you were here when I said that. Pierce Morgan had Bill O'Reilly on, and he said, where was it? That he thinks that Netanyahu needs to basically do to Hamas what we don't understand over here in the West. That they need to do to Hamas what I guess America or we had to do to Tojo and Hitler, because they were hiding behind civilians. So they had to basically wipe out millions of civilians in order to wipe them out. Um, yeah, I think that's such like a is it trope? Is that the right? Am I using that word right? In movies where it's the good guy, you know, holding the bad guy holding a good guy hostage, you know, at gunpoint or something. So, you know, the people can't shoot him or her because they have this kid in front of them that they're holding as a shield or whatever. And it's always like the question, like, yes, but is it worth that child or that person's life that's innocent? And like that whole debate. And like I said, I think we're just like a little bit beyond, like we're trying to find another solution than just wiping out millions of innocent people, just to get to the bad guys. And again, I really do believe that the bad guys would not exist if they didn't need to exist. I think also about internal family systems in psychology. It popped into my head literally just now. Don't know it that well, so I might butcher it. But my understanding from what my therapist has told me is that basically, like, I think he said so many different parts, but I'll focus on the firefighter. So like when our inner child is hurt by something, it can set off a firefighter or like a teenager or something. And basically like the firefighter, instead of putting out fires, it's really just kind of making fires. um or the critic, or I don't know, there's so many parts. we were talking about the critic last time, but it's not making things better, but it's doing so out of protection. And I don't know why that kind of made me think of, or what I just said, which I already forgot, made me think of that. Yeah. It's so interesting when you like start looking at the world of people as much of a system as one person as a system, like from a psychological point of view, that all the things that are kind of happening biologically or psychologically, which both can like be the same, but what I mean is like just thoughts versus literal biological functions. It I don't know, it's just like interesting when you see it on this grand scale of humanity. You know, I've talked a lot about how I feel like America is a dismissive, avoidant society. Like, when you think, like, if I would have like an attachment style for different countries, America would be a dismissive, avoidant person. And like the hyper independence and all the stuff. And so in that sense, like you were saying earlier, well, just now, Maria, that it's like, you know, these children fighting, or these internal systems, or internal parts and pieces fighting. I don't know. Had it, but then I lost it. This is kind of it on the general news part. Oh, sorry, there was one more. This is I don't know. Sorry, yawn break and tea break. So, this is about another attack. This is a moment of levity, so prepare yourself first with levity, and then I'll get into the more serious. But just watch. Is this kind of on? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. It always does that.
It should happen as fast as possible. The Kremlin.
I don't know. I was watching this, and for some reason, that ping pong table stood out to me, because that is not something you see, at least in this part of the U.S. You don't see a random ping pong table. No one plays ping pong that much in the U.S. So to me, for a second, I was like, just seeing the levity of this, the like silver lining of this video, obviously with so much destruction from missiles and things, unfortunately. But I don't know, it just kind of stood out to me, like that ping pong table though. But yeah, they're talking about more missiles, drone strikes.
Saying that Vladimir Putin wants talks with the Ukrainians, wants an agreement with the Ukrainians, but at the same time says that the positions of the two sides are so far apart that right now they are, as he put it, diametrically opposed. At this point in time,
so nothing's changed.
It's absolutely unclear when the two sides are going to get together to speak again. As you've noted, Wolf, very much, President Trump appears to be losing his patience with Vladimir Putin as the war and, of course, that aerial campaign by the Russians drag
ballistic and hypersonic missiles across
also
Ukraine.
This is really cool. Is it this one? No.
Grounding 24 hours ready.
It's like, also I don't know why I was like starting to see all these like cool parts of Ukraine, and I think that was Ukraine, like architecture and stuff. I don't know, you know, like I said, moments of levity. But I said earlier too, like, we've been through sanctions. This one guy that was just about to talk said, the reporter actually said, Russia is no stranger to sanctions, so what could be done differently? And the guy said two things, but then he made it three. One, secondary sanctions, meaning those who deal or do business with Russia, meaning China and India, which we don't want to do. Two, he, and I quote, "We have options in the world of cyber." Literally, that was it. Have no idea what that could even possibly mean. I felt like that was a stupid. He was maybe vague on purpose, not to give away secrets or whatever, but I just feel like that was just a waste of breath right there, because it meant nothing. And then three, the $300 billion of Russian money in Western banks that are currently frozen to be completely confiscated and provided to Ukrainians. That's a lot of money. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if we're white celled enough. I don't know if there's enough white cells for this, all these wars. And like I just said, it was like, it's been, what did I say? 3 years? Almost 3 years, 2.5 years since the conflict in Russia escalated to war. It's been almost a month now, almost a year soon, with Israel and Palestine, and they're like, oh, but let's get into this conflict with Iran, and let's get into this conflict with Syria, I think, and let's get into this conflict with these people. And Israel's like, oh, and then we're attacked, oh no, we're the victims, but they literally just attacked everyone, besides Palestine. But again, that's like depending on when in history do you want to start. But no, not you, sorry. And yeah, so I worry that it feels like we're kind of on a hold on World War III, but like we're like so close to it really going full blown. And when you think about like what's happening, with the ICE deportations and stuff, I just feel like I really do worry about America. I think already it is significantly weaker, and instead of being made great again, it's being made worse. And I'm starting to also see the kind of second Great Depression I feel like we're headed towards, because I was watching this other video about Canada and how Canadians go into their stores and demand less American products. Like literally go into stores saying, hey, you have too many American products in your store, I'm not coming here anymore. And how that sentiment grows through the world. And tourism, people don't want to come to the US. And many Americans are, I think, kind of happy and encouraging that, because so many Americans don't agree with what's happening. And I was eating strawberries that I got over the weekend, and they have been great so far. And I believe they're grown in Canada mostly, or Mexico. And I was like eating these strawberries, and they taste bad. They tasted like, my stepfather just like informed us that basically US tomatoes taste so bad because they're not actually ripened. They're put in the trucks green and dosed with gases to make them look ripe, to make them look red. Probably is it nitrogen or that thing with bananas that it releases if you put the bananas in the bag. But tomatoes are not bananas, so they do not get ripened that way. And so like this whole thing that Trump wants more American grown tomatoes, but they literally lack nutrition. They lack nutrition and taste. So, but I was thinking about that. Like, did Mexico or Canada, whoever like supplied these strawberries, did they like do this on purpose? Sabotage our strawberries that we eat. Like, I'm over here trying to, support Canada and Mexico. Like, I'm not against you. I want good strawberries. But I'll take that as a protest, as a sign of protest. I agree, the world is being divided. Yeah. The country is being divided. And yet I don't think we're as divided as it appears, but I think we're just maybe in a good way made to feel that we're divided, because if we feel we're divided, we will seek to protest more. I was going to say revolt, but yeah, kind of. Protesting is kind of revolting. What to In the ways that it is happening now, it feels like we're in a civil war on top of everything else. And I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea what's going to happen. But I see that it can get so much worse. Like the end of it, like paradise kind of worse. But most of us will not be in bunkers. And so I'm curious, season 2, what happened to the outside world, because we will not make it to that fancy bunker for sure. You and me here that we're talking. But yeah, that or calm after the storm. The hurricane goes away, the damage is done, but the white cells, I'm going to start calling us white cells from now on. The white cells won and the virus is gone. I can't even imagine that world of peace and love and equality. And that's literally what I wanted since I was, let's say, 5. I don't remember exactly the age, but I was little, around 5 or maybe even younger, and wanting to but I think it was 5 because that was after the revolution in Romania. And I still have the visual that I had of me being on stage and singing whatever song. I think at that time I was in my room singing Mariah Carey or Sandra, if she's a German singer, for anyone who doesn't know, who is everyone in the US, I think. And or Laura Pausini, I don't know, but I think it was Mariah Carey that I was singing to. And but I imagined it was my song, and I didn't know what I was singing, but I just imagined I was seeing everyone in the crowd just accepting each other, just being coexisting in such a beautiful way. And this was not what is happening now. I don't know why I had this vision and why I had this need in me from that early age to like do that for the world. But yeah, I can imagine it, but I feel too cynical for it, if that makes sense. Like, I just feel like so much is happening and it just feels overwhelmingly too much bad in the world, and the forces that are bad have too much power. The people that are rich enough, let's talk about Blake Lively, that's the whole thing. Like, the people that are rich enough have so much more control over resources, even if even if this judge isn't biased or bought. Blake Lively's team has, someone was talking about this, she just out of the money that she has more resources available to her than someone else would, than even Justin Baldoni maybe does. Maybe he doesn't because he has his own millionaire. But sometimes it's not so much like this conspiracy theory of like magic. It's just the more money you have, the more resources you have, probably network, probably you can blackmail other people because, you got there for in some way. Talk about that other post about how, people high up in business world are psychopaths, basically. So you don't really care about people that much. I think also about there's this group in my acting school that also did the 48. And this person that seemed to be the leader of the group feels like they have no empathy. They have no real team equality. We're all in this together kind of thing. I also think about this other 48 or the other filmmaker that used to do the 48s, and everyone kind of said he always cheated. And I was looking, for some reason he came up on my Instagram, and I was looking through his feed, his pictures, and he seemed also someone who and I remember, I think I was talking with him or his DP cameraman or something, and he just wanted money. I'm like, I'm someone who's just trying to go to film school. I have no money. What are you talking about? So those kind of people make it to the top. And those people that don't care about other people, that don't care to help one another, they step all over you, and they dry you up of whatever resources, of love, of money, of attention, of whatever. And they're not psychopaths, but they do they don't care about anyone but themselves, kind of, at the end of the day. And that, I don't know how we get through that. I don't know how we get past that. How good has power? How, I don't know. Speaking of Avatar too, how do we get to that world? Obviously, even Avatar hasn't gotten to that world yet, and Avatar is being taken over by people, humans that are destructive and want land and resources, and they're not spiritual beings, they're not coexisting beings and all that stuff. Maybe that's why he's taking so long to write it and to make it, because he hasn't figured out either. Cameron hasn't figured that out either. I don't know. You need to grow your own fruits and vegetables. They're so delicious, totally different from supermarkets. Yeah, my tomatoes are still green. I did talk about, not putting yourself first, because a lot of people call me selfish, and I can be selfish. I'm a human being. I think I got 3. There are these like yellow pear tomatoes, I think they're called, and they're like pear shaped, but they're kind of like a cherry tomato size, and they're golden. they're kind of orangey but towards yellow. And I gave the first one to my stepfather, and then I got 2 others, and we had some guests over the weekend, and I just put them on the table for everyone else. So I have not tried my own tomatoes yet. I also, the first Roma tomato that has been struggling for a month, I feel like, it grew, it was there, but it was green for a month, and finally getting color. But I want it to be ripe enough so it has taste and nutrition. That one I will try, because that one tried so hard to ripen. So that one's mine. Strawberries, that's been very difficult. I was watching this old Asian guy on YouTube, how he propagated strawberry plants, and maybe next year that's what I'll do, where it's like these pots, basically many of strawberries, and that's what I was hoping to get, like good strawberries, so I can take the seeds and plant them next year or something, but not this strawberry batch. What else? Cucumbers have not come out yet. And I have beans and peppers also have not grown enough. Basil I have a lot. But I don't eat that much basil kind of at all. But yeah, what kind of vegetables and fruits do you have, Maria? But I would love that. I want to try next year. I want to try the square foot method and plant a bit more per land, you know, so it's more dense and more variety. There will never be peace. Oh, Arnaldo. Thanks for the reality check. Unreachable. Okay. That's what I mean. That's how I feel. That's what it seems like. But yeah, it sounds nice. Like you're also saying, Maria, my vision, my imagination. But like I said, was it Friday that I was saying what I said to my one friend that, you know, we just have not evolved to that bit. We're dial up still, but we look as if we're fiber optics or fiber, whatever, internet. But we're still dial up, or many of us are still dial up. There's more dial up people in the world. And, you know, like maybe it's just like a couple more generations. When you see people like Zohran Mamdani, like, I feel like you see some hope that if we don't annihilate ourselves because of these stupid people that are old and just stupid, because I don't even understand what they want ultimately. I think they're just stuck in their ways. They don't know anything else. And so they're just doing what they're used to do, kind of thing. But if we get through them, if we outlive them, I think there is hope in the next generation. I know, you know, there's that kind of hope always, but I don't know. I don't know. Let's not be too cynical, but yeah, I kind of feel like you might be right, Arnaldo. All right, I'm gonna switch to. Wow, it's so early. I mean, it's not early, but you know, cucumbers, tomatoes, lettuce, squash, sweet potato, potatoes. I'm so afraid of potatoes. I also heard that you can eat the greens from sweet potato, but I know potato greens and, you know, sometimes even the potato, I don't know, you have to be so careful because it has that toxin. And oh my gosh, I would love a greenhouse. I would love one. That's if I get my own home, which is not plausible right now, and or get married, and yeah, I would love a greenhouse. That's awesome. Do you grow all year round as a result, or like winter is still too much? And do you grow like seasonally? And also, that's like a dream too, like eat by season. I remember going to this one acupuncturist, and he kind of told me to somewhat eat by seasons. Don't eat outside of the season too much because it's kind of there for a reason. Oh, that's awesome. Goals, Maria, goals. It might not even be like aspiring goals. It might just have to be like we won't have food in the grocery stores soon enough. So it might be something we all need to do, be our own gardeners. I enjoy it though, so I don't mind. Yeah. Does that also limit bugs and things? Because that's also my dream. I'm scared of bugs. I also grow this spices. Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Lettuce. I want to, and I don't know if I still have time. I think I still have time because they grow pretty fast, the lettuces, right? But I want to make kind of like a raised, not a raised bed, but like a cart almost, and then fill it up with, so it's kind of like, you know, waist level, and put lettuce there so it's not at the ground level. Although my little garden is fenced in, but it's kind of overpopulated at this point. and there are weeds, so I don't want anything toxic and all that. So I'm trying to weed it out, but I don't know. I'm a very new person and at growing things, so I don't know. But yeah, I want to kind of try lettuce because I also end up throwing so much away when I buy it, and if it's growing, then it can just kind of have at least like life until it dies. I don't know. If I don't eat it versus buying it from the store and letting it mold. I also give it to the bunnies that we have, wild rabbits. Sometimes they like the lettuce, sometimes they like the carrots. So yeah, but that's awesome. That's cool. Yeah, I might ask you in the next few weeks questions. Maria. But I love the no bugs idea too. Whew. But then you have to like self-pollinate, or like you have to pollinate, the certain plants, right? Because there are no bugs. Or do you leave it open sometimes in the summer? So I'm going to talk after this. I'm going to talk about 90 Day Fiancé. So I know most of you are not fans or just don't even care or haven't seen it. But I do want to talk more about 90 Day Fiancé because I just feel like it's a little happier of a place, which is weird saying that, than the Blake Lively thing. And I don't know, I just feel overwhelmed with Blake Lively. So I'm trying to gravitate towards what I'm naturally gravitating more towards. I don't know if that makes sense. You make your own concoction. Okay. You're like a professional gardener. You should have a YouTube channel or like a blog. Oh my gosh, like a good old-fashioned blog. Those are cool, except once you've done it and once you're like so far into it, it's kind of hard to come in on someone's blog that they've had for so long and then kind of try to start at the beginning, but then it feels weird because you're going in the past, and I think that's just me. Anyways. All right. General news. Blake Lively, she subpoenaed people. She subpoenaed. Well, okay. Before I go into, I guess, that, let's go, because I forgot. I do have. I am curious what Without a Crystal Ball has to say. She posted a couple of things. Also, I hate Facebook. Let me just be clear about that. Oh, she posted more things. I hate Facebook because talk about 98 Day Fiancé. I don't even know those people. Those were before my time. Because it keeps logging me off. Maybe because I don't use it that much and I don't want to. I still have trauma from Facebook, so like I avoided like the plague. And but I needed it sort of, and it keeps and then it locks me out of Messenger, and I'm like, why? And then I have to download it Messenger on my phone, but then obviously I need to delete it because I don't want it. But then it doesn't give me the code, and I'm like, if I sign freaking into Facebook, why do I need to sign separately to Messenger? You're under the same freaking company. Why do I need to go through all these hoops? Okay. I think that's a full-time job. I'm too busy. What, of gardening? I don't know. Okay, so I want to say one thing about this clip, first of all.
In nature.
We've seen this clip before. Blah, 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 blah.
It was just more like all the facades that I put up, I just had like let go, so you guys got to see the real me. I'm just a dark, horrible
regarding
person,
Emily
and,
Nelson.
got to let
That's her character in.
So there you go. This is the real me.
And you were an absolute girl boss in this movie as well. Do you think we need?
Whatever,
do you think we need more of that in Hollywood?
Oh my God, I forgot already.
If I knew
A girl boss.
A girl boss. He said a girl boss. I'm like, if I knew what that meant, I could tell you. A girl boss. Yeah, we need more female. I think we have a lot of female bosses, and women's voices are being heard now in a big way, more than, a few years ago, which is great.
Which is great. I still feel this. I've said it before when I showed this, and I still feel that is, to me, the most important bit of this whole clip is that last part, which is great. Because what that signals to me, at least, is that she does not mean that. She does not care. She does not even know what she's talking about. She is saying something that's not even scripted because she didn't expect that question. But scripted in the sense of like, I need to say this. It's more like masking. I don't know if I'm using that word right, actually, but how, again, thinking back about what that sociopath was saying, I say that it sounds so weird. It makes sense when I say it and when I think about it in my mind, and then I say it, I'm like, that sounds differently. It sounds like an insult. That antisocial person, I don't know, whatever that one woman was saying about sociopathy or whatever, like, we're all masking. Sociopaths mask more, or like in certain ways differently, but yeah, like that's not genuine of her. Like when she says that, she does not care. She does not care about women. Like it's just so bad. Anyways, so she posted, without a crystal ball, posted this, that this is, I guess, I did not, oh my gosh, so many filings, so many things. Sorry, I got in my head. Like, this is why I'm not bigger on Instagram, on YouTube. But then I also think, like, I've done so many of these videos, and for a long time, I was very dedicated to the Blake Lively thing. It's only been a few weeks now that I'm, like, more wishy-washy, I feel. But I was, like, so dedicated, and I still didn't get much. And I don't know, it's just that inner child that's, like, doesn't feel good enough, like, no matter what. Like, what would I have to do? Like, these people do too much, these people don't do enough, and yet both of these people get more attention than me, more love, not even attention, but more love, because it's not just views but subscriptions as well. Anyways, so this is a list, and basically she's saying that the people that were subpoenaed in the Google X and TikTok subpoenas were not even in this list of offenders or whatever, people mentioned, I guess, by tag, or what is she trying to say here? As a responding party incorporates let me move this closer. Incorporates by reference in its general objections as it fully set forth in response to this interrogatory. A responding party objects to this interrogatory to the extent it is not proportional to the needs of the case or relevant to the claim or defense of any party. Subject to and without waiving the foregoing objections, responding party responds to these people. I don't know, whatever. So she's saying here that last week Ezra Hudson filed a defamatory motion to compel against Melissa Nathan, claiming that Nathan had named social media content creators on a list of media outlets she communicated with about the lawsuit. Hudson misled the judge and stated that her office could not communicate with creators to share information about the subpoenas due to the filing being designated attorney's eyes only. Wayfair attorney Kevin Fritz requested the judge unseal the record to flat out prove to the judge and the public that Blake was lying about the list to deflect the backlash she was receiving for subpoenaing content creators improperly on Melissa Nathan. In fact, none of the social media users are named in the 3 subpoenas on Google, X, and TikTok. So it's like the other way around. The people on here are not named on those. None. Which is interesting, yeah. Like, well, no, what's his name? Wasn't he on here? I guess maybe not. I thought Andy was on here. Hudson absolutely defamed the content creators and Nathan in the filing by suggesting we were working on the behest of Wayfair. It is clear that there is no smear campaign, there is no untraceable anything. In fact, Nathan gave statements to the journalists and social media journalists on behalf of Wayfair legal team. She's absolutely exposed for lying and misleading the court finally. And this came right before, I have not read this at all, came right before I popped on here. Kevin Fritz continues to be my favorite attorney representing Wayfair Studios. Okay, that was without a crystal ball's opinion. Today, he unloaded on Blake Lively and her attorneys in court. According to the motion, a core component of Lively's claims is that the Wayfair parties are engaging in a smear campaign to somehow manipulate the apparently worldwide media landscape using untraceable sources to portray her as the wrongdoer. That's from docket 449, page 1. I love that she includes the page. Characterizing the so-called campaign as untraceable not only defies common sense, given that Lively knows precisely which news articles or stories and the authors thereof she takes issue with, but also undermines any justification for her ongoing efforts to use this court and the federal rules of civil procedure to discover the untraceable. In any event, Lively contends that TAG may have been able to obscure its contacts in connection with the initial smear campaign in August 2024. That is an admission that, despite months of discovery, her receipt of thousands of pages of documents and her service of dozens of subpoenas and other requests for written discovery, Lively has no evidence that the Wayfair parties employed a smear campaign or did anything in August 2024 other than protect their reputation as they are entitled to do when Lively's allegations were publicized. They even cited a ruling from Judge Lyman, who threw out a claim of retaliation because of a defendant defending themselves after litigation occurred. What is clear is that Wayfair is not going to trial. They are thinking summary judgment because Blake has no evidence. Fritz also defended Melissa Nathan, unable to accept the fact. I don't think that sentence makes sense. Except the fact that the public backlash against Lively was purely organic. The motion improperly seeks to blame TAG for Lively's sinking reputation. Much like the first round of backlash, Lively decided to subpoena 43 creators for no reason, with no evidence, and is now blaming Nathan for sealing her list of media outlets she's spoken to since the lawsuit, which only names one creator, not 43. Nathan gave them statements on behalf of the legal team, and Fritz is saying here, according to the motion, a core component of Lively's claims is that Wayfair parties are engaging in a smear campaign to somehow manipulate blah, blah, blah. I guess he's saying the same thing. Okay. So, yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired after reading all of that. It made me think again. Talk about being selfish. It made me selfish again because it made me think of how left out I am. It was, I think it was Kirsty and spiritual path or whatever, the one lawyer that got subpoenaed on X. And yeah, I think it was her, and she was talking about how they all know each other on X, and Kirsty was saying that we're also a community here, and I was like, and we all talk to each other. I'm like, do we? The only person that I've talked to has been Lauren. Kirsty has responded to me. Like, I'm sure she responds to other people. And so has Dave. And that's it. But yeah, I feel like the only person that knows I exist is Lauren. Because she sent, so many people hear from her lives even. Like, yeah, so I'm like just like kind of adjacent almost in the community, and it just kind of hurts because selfishly, like, I feel like I've been doing a lot of work. It might be not good enough work, sometimes like you work harder rather than smarter. I probably worked harder but not smarter, And I probably didn't provide as much for the audience. Like, I don't do, you know, I don't read things anymore. I don't read the docket, but I also feel like that's Lauren's territory, and she does such a great job and such a better job. So for me, it was like pretty quick decision of like, you know, she's so much better at it. And I'm not, it's, I think also because like of the, like camaraderie or whatever, I didn't want to step on her toes as much as I possibly can, even though we have in the past especially gone live at the same time, unfortunately. And that's like kind of my fault, because I think she was here first at, you know, the late night spot. And still she treated me so nicely. But yeah, it just kind of makes me feel sad, and like, what about me? You know, like, why am I not good enough? But yeah, I'm getting way too much about me. Wayfair Studios are being sued by the business insurance company Harco National Insurance Company, so that's new, who have taken Blake Lively's complaint as fact to deny paying legal fees. For the record, business insurance companies will use every and any loophole to avoid paying legal fees. What is even this? Why are they in this? Why are they suing now? The lawsuit falsely alleges that Wayfair knew of multiple HR complaints, which is a lie perpetuated by Lively. Lively also never filed a complaint, nor even suggested anything would become legal at any point. I mean, she actually literally said that she doesn't want to make it legal. I think at least once. It should be a crime for these insurance companies. I don't... Again, why now? Why not wait to get a verdict? And then this. I don't know these people. But she's under investigation for the sudden death of her newborn daughter. According to the report, authorities responded to an unresponsive child on July 5th, the same day Eric Leda's husband was arrested and booked for domestic violence and battery, 2 misdemeanors. He was accused of slapping Leda across the face while she was holding their daughter. He was also cited for an OUI, don't know what that is, which makes 2 arrests for Eric in a matter of weeks. I have had numerous altercations resulting in arrests for both of them. That sucks. That's so sad. I also hope maybe they will break up after this. Because it sounds like they should. I feel like in my mind, there's so many reasons why people are told or believe that they shouldn't be together or should break up that are not that strong reasons, not that like have to type of reasons. But this I would put into this is probably a you should break up kind of reason. This is kind of hard to say, oh, maybe they just need to go to therapy kind of reason, you know? Man, that's, whew, gosh. Thank you, Angel and Arnaldo and Maria. I appreciate that. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. it's, I have my moments when I just feel, like I said, left out and selfish, I guess, or self-centered. Is there a difference? I feel like there's a difference. I feel like selfish is kind of like what we all are. Self-centered is you only think about yourself, maybe even in that moment, not necessarily as a personality, but in that moment. And that the world revolves around you, kind of thing. So I don't know. It feels like I'm being more self-centered than selfish. I guess, like, also, I think selfish I associated with, like, greed more and, like, mine. Maybe it's kind of like that genocide versus ethnic cleansing argument. Like, they're different but the same, I guess. Not actually. Golden said, out of the 60 content creators subpoena, only one was in contact with Wayfair. Yeah, did she say who? Because that's what I read there, but I didn't understand who it was. Was it Candace? Because from that list, it seemed... Well, no, because there's Perez and Candace and Billy. I got Billy Bush is on here. He came in late into this. He literally came in so late onto the scene. He didn't even have a talk show when all of this started. Why is he on this list? Yeah, did she mention who it was? I feel like, out of under normal circumstances, that's not even like a big deal, I feel like, but I do feel like they probably had to be so careful now. She thinks Popcorn Planet. Oh, well, in the sense of... Maybe, like, in the sense of people that worked on the movie, because he was working on that documentary. That makes sense. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Again, the door is still not locked. But I don't think that there was a smear campaign or like an orchestrated effort against Blake Lively. Even if it wasn't smear campaignish, but orchestrated. I don't think that. I don't think that. My personal opinion. It doesn't seem that way. Obviously, I don't know. Literally, I don't know any of these other content creators. I know me. I wish, I've said it before, I wish I was in contact with these people, but I'm not. And more so, I wish that I was in contact more so to like make movies, honestly, and make the world better than, for this, reason. But yeah, I might go this week and see, the early days of how everyone was covering this content. I do understand that it's possible that, seeds were planted, whatever. I don't know if that's true, but I understand that exists in the world of PR and but that's not a crime and, might be immoral, but it's, whatever. She did it too. But I don't even know if they did that. But also, I mean, in honesty, if things were not true and didn't come out of her own mouth, then I would consider it personally. I know legally it might be different, but then I would consider anything being kind of like a smear campaignish or whatever. But like, to just show, hey, this is what she said, this is what just happened, it's kind of just like, hey, this is the truth. So like, highlighting the truth is now like a smear campaign. But also, I'm not saying that they did that. I'm saying if they did that, if they did anything like that, if they had any kind of hand on like, hey, look at this article or look at this, thing that she said or whatever. I don't know. Um, she she's wasting time, and when it comes to trial time, I believe she's going to try to settle. Yeah, Arnaldo agrees. Yeah, it seems like I would say honestly that unless some craziness happens where there is any kind of content creator overlap or anything that like looks suspicious or whatever, I feel like it's kind of the end. It's looking like if they really, because like I guess this Kevin Fritz was saying, or without a crystal ball was saying that he was saying that, you know, all this discovery that has happened so far, like none of it came up with evidence that she was looking for, with receipts that she needed. So it might not get, now I'm finally one of the people that says that believes that can see that they might not even get to trial. Like her case might just be dismissed. I don't know. I don't know if it happens that easily. But yeah. As far as the subpoenas themselves, I'm not gonna go through the names. I feel like I was saying to Lauren earlier, or on Lauren's live earlier, that I understand and support her take on it, that she didn't want to out people on her live. For me, like I just now they're public, so that's okay. But I was just kind of paranoid for a while because I'm like, it's unlikely, but what if I am? Because I honestly just feel like it's so unreal to like show up on these subpoenas, you know, unless you are Lauren or Andy or Candace or Donna or Zach or Perez, or, you know, these big people, even Elsie, because she exploded, right? She has so many people and she is so like watched. So you're, maybe for Elsie especially and Lauren, like they might still feel like just regular people in a way, but their channels are so big that I still feel like there's more of a buffer of like, okay, that could be reality. But when you're like me or Ken's or, you know, other people, you're like, it just doesn't even compute that you would show up, you know, in the news or in these legal documents. So yeah, it's weird. But yeah, so blah 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 blah. These are just definitions. Let's see. Social media means any digital platform, forum, website, application, online service, other platform on which persons can create, transmit, share, communicate, exchange content, or comment upon any information, ideas, or opinions, or otherwise engage in social networking, including but not limited to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, LinkedIn, TikTok, Snapchat, Reddit. I want to see those Snapchat subpoenas. Like, seriously, Snapchat. I want to see the Snapchat subpoenas because it has Snapchat changed. The last I knew of Snapchat was like they would disappear. Actually, I just got a little bit of a trigger there with Snapchat. YouTube, Vimeo. Are you kidding me? Twitch, Rumble, or similar services where videos, reels, or live content can be uploaded or streamed. Email, messaging applications, and direct communication platforms included Gmail, Outlook, WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, Discord, Slack, Facebook Messenger, Instagram DMs, Twitter DMs, or any private messaging. Blogging and forum sites, Medium, Substack, WordPress, 4chan, 8con. I have not even heard of these. Yelp, Glassdoor, Trustpilot, Google reviews. Did someone leave a Google review for Blake Lively? Or any website where reputational impact can be influenced. Can you rate stars on Yelp? No one. Isn't Yelp for like, I guess for her brand. Okay. All right. Paid sponsorships, influencer partnerships, promoted posts, advertisements, bots, or algorithm-driven visibility campaigns. Hootsuite, Buffer, Sprout Social, or any platform used to schedule, automate, or track social media activity. Any additional websites, forums, private groups, or digital spaces where content related or plaintive. The next thing you will find here is like any kind of outdoor space that people could meet up and talk about this and exchange ideas. I mean, literally. It just kind of popped into my mind, like, China and communism and stuff, and how, like, they're like, they try to do everything possible to prevent people from gathering in places and exchanging ideas, so to not revolt or to not have dissent and all that stuff. This is what we're seeing here with Blake Lively. She's a freaking actress. She's an actress. Who do you think you are? You are not Trump. No one cares that much about you. No one can care that much about you. And, like, you don't do anything. Literally, this is what I'm expecting to see soon. Is like, okay, online, but, like, what about those? Because, I mean, she already talks about, emails and WhatsApp and text messages and all these things. Signal. Signal. So it's like, I want to see those subpoenas for, public parks and public squares and the malls and all that stuff. Crazy indeed, Angel. Crazy indeed. The queen of nothingness. Yeah. Content creators shall refer to, and then without limiting the foregoing in any matter. This is the Google one. In any matter and by way of example only, this definition includes all original posts, reposts, shares, likes, comments, hashtags, memes, images, videos, stories, threads, and reactions. All drafts, things you didn't even post to the public. Deleted posts. Okay, that I understand. But drafts that literally did not even reach the public. Literally should not even be on here. Deleted, I can understand. Or an unpublished content related to plaintiff. Again, unpublished should give you a hint that is not relevant for any of this. All engagement metrics, analytics, reports, logs reflecting interactions with content, all metadata, timestamps, IP addresses, geolocation data, or user activity logs related to content. You know what I think she did? I think she failed at getting her own Deadpool and her own Eras tour and her own whatever. Her own, like, franchise, with this. And I feel like in some way it should have been hers. Based on Colleen Hoover and how she dealt with the book, how the people did not agree with how she handled the story, how she marketed the book, all that stuff, it should have been Blake Lively. I do think that they were made for each other and it should have been them. And I do think that Justin was in the wrong place at the right time. Or wrong time, whatever. He shouldn't have been involved in this. He wanted to do a story that was too genuine for these ladies. I'm going to be honest with my opinion. That's my opinion. And I think she didn't get her way with that. She didn't take over the franchise. She didn't get her own thing. And so now she's like, but I still need to be famous for something. So she's making this, voice for all women kind of brand, her brand now, because Lily Bloom, was a failed brand because she can't really do these movies anymore unless she wins, which I don't think she will. And so now I think that she is, like, going so extreme on this, pushing to be the savior of women's voices from smear campaigns and intimidation and whatever's. because this is like war. Like, this is not, in my opinion, reasonable for the scale of what happened to her. In her own words, again, I'm not even saying that it actually happened. I'm not saying that it didn't. I'm saying what she claims happened to her, how she claims that she was sexually harassed, does not warrant this. This is way disproportionate. Way disproportionate. I also think that the idea, Wayfair having done any of this to this extent, would be disproportionate to what she alleges they did to her. They would be insane and mad and crazy and stupid to feel like they have to go to these lengths for only what just happened, that she claims happened, that they probably did not see in the same way, and some of it might not even have happened. I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe we won't. But any of this is disproportionate. Whether Wayfair did it or whether she just imagines they did or she's trying to prove that they did, both are disproportionate to her claims of what happened. She was not assaulted. She was not groped. She was not XYZ whatever. It was, most of it was at best misunderstandings. Again, if it even happened the way that she describes it. And there are some things that I can understand, you know, again, if it happened the way that she described it, would make her uncomfortable, whatever. It does not, they would just be insane to think that they needed to go to these lengths. It's just like so stupid. It's so stupid. And maybe they were. I don't know. I don't know anymore. I really don't know anymore. I want to kind of read the other ones because we've sort of seen from other people what these include. But let's see the one. Which one? This is the TikTok one. This is like the newer one. I think it's the newer one. What is this about? Definitions. They have the same stuff. Instructions. Production of ESI, which was in the other one, but I didn't read it. Should be produced in long, ready, standard format, including single-page TIFF Group 4, 300 DPI TIFF images, with the exception of spreadsheet and presentation type files. Maybe that's why everything's blurry. 300 DPI TIFF images. Who uses TIFF and JPEGs? Have you guys heard of PNG? You need to like raise your standards here. Native files, spreadsheets, Excel, Lotus, Google Sheets, CSV, and media files, Wave, MP3, MP4, MOV, MOV, whatever, WMV. Oh, I remember WMV, MPEG. Shall be produced in native format except where such files were redacted. For Google Documents, production of an export in a comparable format will constitute native production, such as Google Sheets document exported in Microsoft Excel format. Okay. Metadata, blah, blah. This is so ridiculous. So ridiculous. Sorry. Okay, I'm gonna, I guess these people, sorry, I'm kind of sacrificing this person, but highly unlikely anyone watches this besides you guys, which I appreciate deeply, so I think I'm outing them. But they're requesting all subscriber information, including not limited to the same thing: first and last name, email address, phone number, physical address, language, social media account information. What does language tell? Like, it doesn't tell you anything. If they're like in Spain or I don't know, whatever. Social media account information, location data, including IP addresses or SIM card information. SIM card information. This just gets better and better. User generated content and associated metadata. User's phone and social network contacts, including the user. the user's phone's contacts and social network contacts, including the user name, phone numbers, and email address of existing users of your platform, backup recovery email address or phone number, length of service, including start date, and any premium service utilized. I still don't really fully understand that part, the premium service. Means and source of payment for such services, if applicable, including any credit card or bank account number or public blockchain data and addresses, and login IP addresses used from May 1st, 2024 to present with dates and time sessions. But if I read this right, it says user's phone and social network contacts. So like everyone that is in your phone, in these people's phones as a contact, which I mean, I don't even know how many contacts I have in my phone. I'm curious now. I don't even know if I can know. Is there like a contact thing? There used to be. Contacts, there we go. Doesn't tell me the number though. Lists? Oh, I have 563, out of which I probably, well, yeah, I think like 4 or 5 is who I still talk to. But this is like business, like your boss, employee, fellow employees from like years ago, from other jobs, professors. Like this is so crazy. I really don't think this will go through. I don't think that she'll get this information or she'll be allowed to or whatever. She has no SH proof because there wasn't any, so she's going hard on the smear campaign. Yeah. And because it's like, I think she's like, oh, Amber Heard did the SH stuff, so now it's like cool, or SA or whatever. So like she wants to have her own thing, and her thing needs to be like smear campaign, you know, to look different, to like have authorship of this type of lawsuit and of this type of narrative. All right, and then X. It's probably the same thing, right, for everything. Yeah, pretty much, except I don't see contacts, phone contacts on this one. Only the TikTok I saw phone contacts. Which I don't share my contacts with any of my social media. I don't share it. But yeah, so that was a fun. Whatever. Is my face red or is it just looking red? Probably just looking red. I do want to talk about 90 Day Fiancé, but I'm glad that I covered more Blake Lively, because I think like once I talk about it, it's okay. But then like researching it, I just kind of started dreading it. And then I read something like that and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like outraged, or this is ridiculous. I have things to say or whatever. But yeah, ugh. And then her video of getting ready. I don't know. I'm just like, I keep saying this and then I keep coming back to it, but like I'm just kind of over her fakeness. I do want to mention or like talk about this. More mousse and more mousse. This is maybe why your hair looks so bad and frizzy. Although by the end of this, it looks good, but she also has, you know, things in between. Hi, Mia. Eating in the bathroom is absolutely gross. And with hairspray too. Like, none of that should happen. And also, here's a question. Who cuts their toenails on the toilet? I would not put my foot on the toilet seat. What? Is that just me? That feels gross on both sides. Like, then you'll sit where your foot was. That foot went all over the house or whatever. And then also, like, your foot was put where you pooped. Like, I don't know. None of it goes well with me. But yeah. So her hair does look good here. But that is way too much product. I would not. I have parakeets. I cannot do that much chemicals in my hair. I cannot do that much chemicals. I cannot do that much chemicals in my hair. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking. A. B. The environment. My hair, my own health, and my hair's health. And it's so gross when you have hairspray and stuff in your hair and you go to wash it and it's like kind of just stuck and stuff. I want my hair to like be just like smooth and, I don't know, light. But, when you're celebrity, you do have like red carpets and stuff. But yeah. First time her hair looked actually good. Hey, I don't know. I always feel bad highlighting you guys, but I also like feel bad not highlighting you guys. So thought that was like innocent enough. But yeah, the eating in the bathroom. Yeah. She's like, "Oh, I'm eating." Like, okay. I don't even know what this pose is. I don't know. This is the issue I had with this one girl in this whatever I'm doing now, is that just detached from reality, kind of. Lack of awareness. The one girl that I'm talking about, she literally was so lacking empathy for people. Like, don't do marketing if you don't have empathy. And what I mean by empathy in specific to marketing is if you can't put yourself in other people's shoes, because literally that is your job. Your job is to put yourself in all kinds of people's shoes. It is not about you. Fun fact, marketing is not about what you like. Marketing is about what other people like and your target audience. Know your target audience and do work for them. Not this girl, but whatever. Also not Blake Lively, but actually Blake Lively I think does do more of that, but yeah. Anyways. All right. So it is very late and I will understand if no one wants to stick around for 90 Day Fiancé. I'm gonna go fast through this because I don't have many fans on here about it yet. Hopefully I'll get some more, combine the two worlds, and also because I was speeding through it today and yeah, I don't know, it wasn't as bad as other past episodes either. All right, so I'll start. There's this couple, Tiger Lily and Adnan. She was in an abusive, controlling relationship for a long time. She got out of it, met this guy in, I don't know what country, Jordan, and online. I think a month in, she went to visit him, and by visit him, go marry him on the first day that she landed in Jordan after a month of talking to him. Because they just knew they were the one for each other. Yeah, it's as bad as it sounds. am definitely curious how things will go here, because they're still together and she converted, even though she was very strongly against converting. But on her social media, she is converted to Muslim, to Islam, which is perfectly fine. But the way that I think happened, and we'll see how it happened, but it seems like she was again in a controlling relationship. So my take on this, I don't really see you next live. Thank you, Angel. Have a good night. I don't think oh, thank you, Maria. I'll try to be fast. But I don't think I'll cover them much. I don't know, maybe I'll say more, but it's just kind of like boring to me, because what did she think? What do we, any of us? It was also clear from the beginning. He's very controlling. His own mom said, "Do not let him control you," basically, because I didn't teach him to. I didn't have him grow up that way. I taught him to, respect women and blah, blah, blah. He does not respect women. He wants to be the man of the house. He's also like, she's, I think, 40 something. He's 20 something. So, I don't know. It's just all so ridiculous. But it's interesting because it's not from his upbringing that he is this controlling. Although his one brother seemed to be kind of in that similar space. But we're also going to meet his other brother that is here in Texas, and he seems like more normal. Yeah. I also wonder if he's playing it up for the cameras, Adnan. But their problems seem to be their problems, and she is crying for real, so we'll find out. But it just feels like, I was just thinking about this. I'm going back and dabbling into coaching again. And I was trying to think about like branding and whatever, because I have a hard time sort of explaining the coaching that I do, or even settling on how I want to approach it. And I know that I don't want it to be kind of the cliche of like, hey, just take a year off and be single and find yourself and then get into a relationship, because also that is oftentimes unrealistic, because you will be more secure when you're single, and then you get in a relationship, and then all the stuff that you didn't deal with because you didn't have that being slammed into your face all the time, so you thought those didn't exist, you were fine, you're secure, those with someone will pop back up. So I think there's like this fine line between, yes, like when you really need it. I think she really needed not to just be single, but to also date and also go to therapy, which I think she did. I don't know, but I don't feel like she made any healing from the first relationship and what brought her to be in that controlling environment the first time to this, because she literally just jumped into a similar ship, maybe a little different, but similar, because we also don't know the first person. But anyways, the reason that I thought maybe he's playing it up for the camera is because his face when he entered, they got this cabin and they're going to modernize it. She got a $20,000 toilet. I don't understand, in the world of me, why a toilet can cost $20,000. All the things that it did, I don't know if it actually played music or have like disco lights, maybe, but it washed you, it dried you, warmed your seat, maybe cool your seat. I don't know if that's a feature, but let's pretend. Flush small for number 1, flush big for number 2. That's pretty also standard in Europe, I think. So that's not worth $20,000. But she got it, as far as like a bidet and all that stuff. Great, cool. I understand 7,000. I understand 8,000. I don't understand 20,000. I don't understand 20,000. I don't. But yeah, so they're like redoing this cabin, modernizing, but she loves Montana, so she wants kind of that feel. Okay, whatever. We'll see what comes up at the end. He entered though, and he had this like face like this. In Romanian, it's called what I'm thinking of is încruntat, like he was just like scrunched face, like just like man, and like disapproving. And then he said, I love it. So I think he's also playing it up for the camera, but I also think there's like also some truth there. I don't know. Then Gino and Jasmine, the couple that is never ending. That's like Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, but not really. But just in the sense that you want it to end seasons ago and it doesn't end. And I don't say that about a lot of people, including them. And for a few seasons, I was like, oh, they can make it work, go to therapy or whatever. I don't think it was that many seasons actually that I held that hope for. But he, I think, was done with her, and when he kicked her out, and just kind of like Blake Lively changed. It's weird to recall Blake Lively, but like I remember reading the text messages, and when it was at the beginning, she was very friendly with Justin. She was very like pulling him in, making jokes, all this stuff. And then when she was done with him, and she either wasn't getting what she wanted from him, or she was just like, she got what she wanted from him. She just changed. Not only was she cold, but she wasn't even speaking to him. I feel like that's I think that's part of the narcissistic abuse cycle too. But regardless, A Simple Favor, that was the name of the movie that she was in that clip talking about. Sorry. Hello ADHD, but not so much because I just saw a picture and remembered. Anyways, I don't know that it's specifically this abuse or whatever, but I just think that he was done with his wife, Gino, with Jasmine. He was done with her. He discarded her. That's it. Meanwhile, she held on for hope. It's weird, and I think people might not believe that. And maybe there was not as much like what we're seeing on camera, maybe it wasn't as real time but I do think that she held on to that relationship longer than he did, and I think she tried to fight for it for so long, and she loved him even though she really deserves so much better. And I think it's one of those like really painful things when you see the guy move on, or the girl, you see your partner move on. I think this is also a great example of like, you see them move on, you see them happier, you see like this other person gives them what you couldn't give them, or like they feel better with them than with you, etc., etc. I do love that Jasmine was smart enough, or like, also I think she's gone to therapy too, to recognize that like 3 days with someone in Vegas. She's like, oh, what did she say here? I'm jumping ahead, actually. Oh gosh, what is it? What did she say? You're comparing 3 days to 5 years of a relationship. I can make any man the happiest for 3 days in Vegas, my dear. And I was like, truth. Even if it's not in Vegas, even if it's down the street, like 3 days with someone, of course you're going to feel like, oh my gosh, they understand. It's so much nicer. We're having fun. It was like that at the beginning with Jasmine. Well, duh. It's going to be like that in the beginning with some people. Some people from the beginning, it's not going to be like that with. But like, he takes zero responsibility. Zero. For like the fighting that happened and the repair that needs to happen. And it'll happen with that lady too. And I don't think it'll happen with that lady, with whatever Natalie, whatever her name is, because she seemed very secure and adult, and like she wasn't going to put up with the things that Jasmine put up with. I think Jasmine did love him, or felt inferior to him and stuff like that. And so it lasted way longer. But I do think that this is like one of those examples where it's like, you are so better off than the person that you're clinging on to. And I think for me, it takes a lot to say that, because a lot of us are hurt. We, mistreat each other, and there's like all the stuff, and people say red flags. And I think whatever. But I think rarely are you really truly like, no, you're that better off. That Natalie is your blessing. Him going to see this Natalie is your blessing. Maybe she's bipolar. Jasmine is? I don't think she is. She's pretty consistent. She's consistently emotional. I don't think she's bipolar. He has something. I don't know what he is or what he has or whatever, but something is going on with him. Maybe antisocial personality disorder. I would highly. Oh, Blake is bipolar. It could be. I don't know, because she has like, or at least she claims that she has been depressed and stuff. I don't know. I feel like bipolar is maybe one of the hardest things to see from social media and interviews and being in the spotlight, because unless you mean like bipolar in the like way that people use it, as far as like 1 minute they're happy, 1 minute they're not, which is not technically bipolar. Like inconsistent and up and down. But yeah. We'll never know, because she didn't want her medical records, which, I mean, fair enough, you know. We don't need to know. That's really, truly something that she absolutely can hold private. But, yeah, she has something too. But also does Gino. Anyway, so, yeah, I guess I'll just talk about, like, them, just finish up with them, I guess. But Jasmine is staying with this Matt guy, who I learned was Romanian. Doesn't quite look like Romanian until you know he's Romanian. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, he does. But it's interesting because this one YouTuber that covers this, My Thoughts, she's really cool. She's awesome. What annoys me is that she's like so into Love Island and this other spin-off of 90 Days I can't even watch, because it's just a bunch of stupid not dating and I don't care for it. I don't care for drama. I know that you guys think that 90 Days is drama, and it is, but that is like a different type of drama that I just do not care for, the dating show stuff, because this is more like you're married or getting married drama, which is different. I'm older now, so I'm at that level of this or stage of relationships. But yeah, but she was saying that she doesn't want to cover some people because she just kind of is not interested. And I'm like, but you're interested in these other people? That is not what I wanted to say, though. She was saying something about Matt, that he seemed like he did not want her there and wanted her out of the house as fast as possible. And I was like, I don't know about that. And in this episode, he was talking to the producers and said that he has hope that Jasmine will wake up and realize Gino is just not interested in her. Like, he does not care for her. He's over it, or gone, or never was, or whatever. He's not with her. And as a result, like, hoping that there's hope for him and her to be together. And I think they are cute together, and I think he's really a good guy. The way that he's talked so far, I'm sure he has his issues. She has her issues. But he just seems like he handles her with care and love. And even when he's annoyed with her, I just feel like he's just healthy. He's just like a good human being, just a normal human being. And I don't know, I hope at least. But yeah, even in this, do I have other notes here from them? Oh yeah, she was in this sauna. Like, you put yourself in the sauna, like a blow up sauna sort of thing. I think I was in one when I got this one massage in one place, and they put me to like warm up my muscles or whatever. It was like so weird. But you know, your head sticks out, but you're in this like aluminum foil type of thing, box. And yeah, she was there to like de-stress or whatever. And he comes, having taken the dog to grooming. And I guess because she says, "Oh, you're all like cute now," or whatever, to the dog. And they talk about how she hopes that, you know, Gino wants to like make up or whatever. And so this part is where I feel like maybe it was delayed. Maybe she felt that way before filming started, but because they needed to kind of continue the story, she had to say it in that moment. She did cry, but it could easily also be kind of delayed. Not fake per se, but just storyline, you know, brought into the filming portion of it. Yeah, because I guess like people would be probably surprised. Like, she's been kicked out of the house for 4 months, locks changed, has not heard one single thing from this guy, from her husband. That was kind of triggering, honestly, for me, because she mentioned later that, you know, like, he cheated on her. Like, he went and acted single in Las Vegas with this girl when he's married. And he's like, "What are you talking about? We haven't talked in 4 months. Like, you know, like, we haven't lived together, haven't seen each other in 4 months." But her point, and she kind of gave it up, but her point was like, but they're married. They didn't get a divorce. They didn't even talk about a divorce. They were together. And I've had that happen where the guy was like, there was no breakup, there was no this or that, but you know, they started seeing someone else. And I'm like, where? Like, so you cheated? And like, no. I'm like, yes, because we were together, we never broke up. And but to that, like, you could say, okay, but you know, it's a relationship, you guys didn't live together, you weren't married. But they are married, and he still like thought about it that way, because it's not, whether it's like legally binding or not, it's just faulty thinking on these people. But anyways, but they're she was with Matt, blah blah blah. And then Gino, I guess, reached out to her after he got back from Las Vegas. And Matt put her in a car, or she called an Uber, whoever. She got in an Uber, in a car, production car or whatever. And Matt was like so cute, saying, "I'm just a phone call away. Like, remember, you're not alone." And I'm like, he seems like the hope for anyone who's been through a tough relationship. Some people might call it a toxic relationship. Some people have a toxic one, or an abusive one, or just a very difficult one. And maybe like it's kind of like the hope that after that, maybe you meet someone that like is nice to you. Anyways, and then Gino acts like a victim, like he's the one that's a victim, and that he cares, that, you know, he was heartbroken. He says that he's heartbroken, or was heartbroken, so many times. And I don't know who believes him. People who haven't seen all the seasons of them together, or don't remember the seasons of them together, because I don't believe him. Those are fake words. Fake words. I don't buy it. And then goes to commercial. So I said, what was even the point of this segment? Like, you could have just shown it later when you showed the rest of it. But anyway, so before they meet up, then they meet up. He has a coffee machine that he said that she probably will be happy to see, or something, and some of her clothing and yoga mat, and just some very random things that somehow didn't make it through the first kick out. And she says that the coffee machine was a gift, so he should keep it. And he said that he doesn't want it, so she can keep it, with such a like harsh tone. But I was like, okay, maybe he's hurt, but I doubt he's hurt, because this guy does not care about this girl or woman. And Yeah, and then the whole like, but we don't live together, and I'm like, but you're married, so that doesn't add up. You did cheat. Because he also kept talking about like they have this open marriage agreement, and also the open marriage agreement did not include you randomly meeting someone without her consent or no knowledge that you were meeting someone. I'm pretty sure it didn't mean like getting kicked out of the house. I don't know. I do feel like Jasmine was actually the sane and rational one, and she is volatile. She blows up. She is a big personality, but I think she is so genuine throughout. I don't think he is. I don't think he has been. I don't really want to see him again. He can just go into the rock that he came from. But anyways, and then he says that all we do is fight, so I can't be myself, can't have a good time. But with that lady, I guess, because I think she's old, I don't know. He did, and Jasmine says, you're comparing 3 days to 5 years, so of course. I said responsibility, Gino. He'll never take a responsibility. Jasmine's crying. All her boxes are still unpacked, she says, because she was hoping that they would get back together. And in that moment especially, I just felt for her. I think it took me back to moments like that for me. And I really did have a lot of empathy. Like, I really connected with where she was and her perspective, and how ridiculous it might seem from the outside to that partner that is just so closed off and doesn't care, or it didn't connect, didn't really invest in the relationship emotionally, or even to like people that are not in the relationship and are just kind of viewers from the outside. And it seems like, oh, she's exaggerating, or it's not, like, it just sounds ridiculous, or like kind of how he said, like, I kicked you out 4 months ago. We haven't talked. We haven't seen each other. We haven't lived together for 4 months. But to her, she's like, but we are still married, and there is still hope, and I love you. And like, I do feel like in her instance especially, she is better off. She's just better off. I've not really seen someone that he just doesn't care for her and just uses her as a scapegoat for himself. And then he pulls up that after they came back from the couples retreat, they call it therapy, but I question how much therapy actually was there. But after they came back and they had agreed to the open marriage, she'd go to the gym too much, and she would have like 8 hours at the gym. And she's like, what 8 hours? I never was 8 hours at the gym. And then he says, well, I have the phone records when I was like heartbroken and angry that I was heartbroken and this and that. I remember that I have the phone records and I can look through them. And I'm like, what? Who does that? And this is where it gets so funny to me. And if this guy is for real, if he really believes this, it shows that he has no idea what relationships are and what actual connection is, and not even love, but like just simple connection. He says that Jasmine started calling this Matt guy 4 months before they even went to that retreat. And I said, that's not technically cheating. If you know what they talked about, if you know like how, whatever, they talk for hours and hours, okay, maybe. But you still don't know the contents of that conversation in those phone records. Anyways, so he said that the phone conversations to the producers lasted anywhere between 2 minutes. This is for him proving that she cheated, that they had a relationship. The phone records show you having a relationship with Matt, is what Gino said. So the phone conversations lasting between 2 minutes and 60 minutes. And I just kind of died laughing. Let me tell you, let me tell you, 60 minutes is not a big conversation. That is like a friend conversation. When you're, I don't know, maybe I'm just more, I'm different and my ex was different, but me and my ex, 60 minutes is like when we're not really connected and we're not really, or we're not together, or we are together, but we're just like in resentment mode, or like just not really connecting, not like very closed off from each other. That's a 60-minute conversation, or like under 60 minutes. It could be 14 minutes, or 2 minutes is like when we really don't like each other. We're not together kind of thing, and we hate each other, or that resentment is strong. That's like a 2-minute conversation. Or like she said, like they were talking about him picking her up, or like whatever gym, because Gino wasn't driving her to the gym, so she made this friend and they were coordinating when to go there together, which you could also say, and I know that Rob guy would say like, oh, that's proof, it was actually something fishy and blah 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 blah, emotional connection, whatever. I will stand by 2 minutes as a friend conversation. It's a like, hey, can you pick me up? Are you going to the gym? Okay, I'll come too, whatever. Now, whatever they were talking at the gym, okay, maybe that was relationship, maybe that was emotional cheating, whatever. And for 60 minutes, yeah, okay, so 60 minutes could be a little bit of something, but I think from what we saw, like I think she was just complaining about Gino and asking for advice. I think it's I've been there where this was like a long time ago for sure. I learned quite fast, like leaning on guys about other guys, something is just weird. They don't get it, and somehow they get turned on by that, or like they think that you're hitting on them. It's just the weirdest thing. I don't think that happened necessarily with Matt, maybe, I don't know, but like I'm pretty sure she really didn't see him as an option. I think she just leaned on him. Now Matt maybe saw her as an option, but I think, yeah, 60 minutes. Oh, Gino, you don't know relationships at all. 60 minutes. 60 minutes. Like, at least 2 hours. At least. Anyways. He calls her very manipulative, and I said, be freaking S. He is 1000% manipulative, not her. And I said again that she's better off. And I really don't believe in my heart of hearts that she cheated. I just really don't believe it. Just with her, like there are other couples on 90 Days that had something similar that I could see, or I even believe that other person did. I really just don't believe it. Did she make like this friend an emotional connection? Did she lean on him? Whatever. I think that she would have fought for this marriage, and she even said if Gino wants to stop the open marriage, she will stop it. They will stop talking, and she will just be with Gino. Like I think she really was dedicated to the marriage and the relationship with him, even though it was really, really bad. It's really, really bad. So that was like second couple. And then talked about Adnan and Tiger Lily. They met with this other brother. They went golfing, and therefore they missed, prayer 2 or whatever they said, or prayer at 2 p.m. I don't know, something. And so it's like, oh, now let's talk about, my child is Muslim, right? And she's like, yeah, baby. And I hope my wife will be one day Muslim, Adnan said about her to her in third person. And she's like, I don't know about that. I don't want to convert because of you, because you tell me I want to convert because I want to, because otherwise it's going to be fake. It's going to be a lie. And the brother like basically said, I like how she thinks, because that's true. Like, if it's genuine, it should be genuine, not because you're doing it for someone else, especially if you respect your religion. And Adnan said in a confessional that, like, she'll change for, because she'll want to, but he's just there to help her get there and put her on the right track. And she did not like that. She felt like he was preachy, and yeah. I personally would not be able to be with someone who, in my opinion, is slow, close-minded, that thinks that religion is the only way to save the person or their child, and that if they're not like in any kind of way informed that specific religion, then they're not going to be saved. I think that's fear. Is it fear mongering or whatever? From it's just power and control over people by religious leaders. I don't think that. I think I'm with Tiger Lily, and I don't know that I've said this on here, but I've in college, I think I came across Natalie Portman talking on Inside's Actors Studio about this, where I forget what she did, but my interpretation of that, I had stopped praying. I just kind of was like, hey, God, I'm just going to take a break, and maybe I'll come back. Maybe I won't, but I want, kind of like Tiger Lily was saying, like, I want to do it because I believe in that, not because I'm afraid to not pray or believe in God or be religious or whatever. And we weren't even that religious. But I remember, like, Natalie Portman saying something basically like she doesn't want to think about heaven or hell, because if she does something good for someone or for the world or whatever, she wants to do it not because she's afraid, because then it wouldn't be real, it wouldn't be genuine, it would be tainted. And she wants to do it because simply she really wants to do good. And that hit me really strongly. And yeah, so I believe in that. I think this is honorable and amazing and great of a thought. I also understand his train of thought, because so many people think that way. I just think it's wrong, but that's my opinion. And I just couldn't be with someone like that. Never say never, I guess, but yeah. And I used to think, this is the last thing about them, I used to think that you had to be like Tiger Lily for a man to love you, or for a man to be with you, that you're just very sweet, like baby this, baby that, and that, like, very girly speech, very like child. She sounds like a child, very childish, girly speech, very soft. Don't like criticize him, coaxing the ego, blah blah blah. It felt always so fake and manipulative, but manipulative in a submissive way. It's like, because you felt like not that you felt unworthy, but that you felt fear that if you weren't submitting to him in that way, with that girly tone and being sweet and soft and all that stuff. And again, because you can be that way, but like on purpose, because if you weren't, he was going to leave or not be with you or whatever. If you're not going to put the food on the table, he's going to leave. Got over that one fast, but I don't know. For a long time, I think I still apparently, yes, because I just got super choked up. I still think I have that. Wow, okay. More than I thought. I think, my mom especially has told me a lot that, like, I'm too harsh, I'm not diplomatic enough, or whatever. I'm not I'm too blunt, I'm too harsh, I push people away, I push men away, guys away, whatever. And I mean, she wasn't exactly wrong. I discovered, more now that I was I have my own avoidant ways. You know, don't get too close, because you'll hurt me. So therefore, I'll just be like, not soft, not kind. Like, I'll be kind as a human being, but like not soft, not tender, very harsh, like put walls up and all that stuff. So yeah, that's something I apparently still need to work on, because look at me right now, which is okay. I definitely, like, I don't know how I realized this and how long ago I realized this, but yeah, like I realized, like, when I think about something and it gives me that choked up emotion, I'm like, whoops, yeah, there you go. That's, I still believe, I still have that thought, I still have that belief, I still have that wound, I still have, you know, that to work on. So it's actually wonderful to like kind of check in with myself on that. But yeah, I did not expect it to be that prevalent. Yeah. So yeah, I still feel like, you know, you can't be rough and tough, but I also see that so many times in people around, where the girls are more demanding, or they're more blunt, or whatever, but even then they're quite feminine. And so, like, I guess, like, I've not seen an example where, no, I've seen one example, one in a family friend a long time ago, where the woman was not as like feminine and soft and stuff, and was still very much loved by her husband, and they still had a partnership and stuff. So yeah, but that's like one out of so many couples that I've met in my life, you know, old and young and all that stuff. So yeah, I need to work on that, I guess, or I don't know, need to work on it one way or another. And then we have this other couple, Kara, and Guillermo. He is directionless, he is lost, he wants to be a pilot, but she's like, you've said so many things, you've wanted to be so many things, I don't know, you need to show up, you need to make the effort to, like, or like actually say, I'm gonna do this first and then that and then that and whatever. He meets with her mom, because he's a foreigner here in the US, and doesn't have his own family. He meets with her mom, and the mom, I do like that she is talk about kindness. She does talk so kindly. I don't necessarily agree with her. She tells him, encourages him to go to the Air Force if he wants to be a pilot. Why not the Air Force? They pay well. And because it might help him with organization, because he lacks direction and responsibility, and this might help. And I remember when my stepfather said, which is kind of funny because also, you know, gender wise, like, especially back then, it was like kind of funny that he told me that I need to go to, what is it? The army or something to learn discipline and to learn. Sorry, I just like laughed about something that happened today. To learn to not defy authority, kind of. I am not much for authority. I'm not a huge authority follower and listener. Like, I listen and I respect authority if it's respectable, but if it's not, I'm not. Even if it's inside myself, but also outwardly. So it just kind of was like, okay, lady, that's a myth, or that's just like kind of cruel to like put that a person that is just not about that through. And then he talks with his wife, Kara. Why am I saying Kara? She's American, Kara. And she's not a fan. She sees it as, you'll be away because you'll be at a base, and then we're not coming with you. I'm not changing states or wherever locations for you. She's also the daughter of someone that was in the Air Force or Army or something. So I think that really wasn't a great encouragement from her mom's point of view, because she probably has some trauma around that or some triggers around that, her dad not being around or them going, traveling around or whatever too much, or I don't know. So anyway, so she's not a fan. But I also don't get her because she keeps wanting him to be more decisive, to have more of a direction, to be to already have a plan. And I wrote, what does she want? And I forget exactly what she was saying, but basically that was the gist. And I don't, like, I feel like she's being unreasonable, but at the same time, I understand when you have your own, like, patterns, your own triggers, your own stuff, and also you have the relationship patterns and things that annoy you about this person will annoy you, and you have resentment built up, and you have other issues. So they won't be able to, like, if they were strangers or friends or in a good relationship, these weren't probably a big deal, that he's directionless, that he's more a dreamer and doesn't really take initiative and it might need her help. Excuse me. He might need her help to, like, figure things out. That's a first. And yeah, some people do that, of all genders. And I don't know if it's a gender thing or it's just that she got tired, because at first she's like, yeah, okay, do it, yeah, I'll support you. I think she did. One time, one of his dreams, she bought him, like, all this stuff or whatever, lawn mowing or landscaping business, and then he changed his mind. So I think it's not so much the gender, like she wants a man that takes charge and initiative. I think she's just like, we've been through this road so many times, and I bought things for you, I helped you, I guided you, I made your business plan, and you know didn't go through that. So I think that's where she's coming from. So it's hard. I also feel like he feels that it's better now when the child is small, but at the same time, there's the attachment style and other things that could be kind of messed with if you're leaving the child. But I think it was like only 2 years, but still, I don't know how old their child is though. But it's hard. I don't know. So we'll see what they do. I don't know if they'll make it. They seem kind of hopeless, and it's sad because they're, I think, both such good people, and I just don't see how they'll make it. They just feel so far. I remember there was this other couple in previous seasons, Pedro and Chantal or something, although she spells it Chantal, but whatever. And I remember that they loved each other so much, and it was like so infuriating seeing them fall apart, both of them loving each other, and even more than what we saw with these two, because there were also more seasons, but it was heartbreaking. And they ended up hating each other and like having so much resentment and blaming each other and just seeing each other as like evil, basically. And they should have never broken up. They should have made it through, but they didn't have the support. Both of the families were not supportive of their partner, and I think that's something I learned about and was like kind of sad, because I don't feel like my ex and I had that either with our families, friends, whatever. Neither of us really have like big friendships, big friend groups. Anyways, but I think that was something that I realized, like, the support system that you have, if they're with you, if they help you, if they're differentiated enough to help you with your partner and don't take it personally, or whatever, you can survive. But if they're not differentiated enough and they take things personally, and they kind of want you to have something different for whatever reason, maybe because they wanted it, and whatever, they see you hurting and they don't understand that they could do something to remedy that doesn't include severing the relationship of two people that love each other. Like, family getting in between you, like, it matters a lot, or friends or whatever, or the lack of support matters a lot. They don't seem to have that. Her mom loves him, but it just feels like they're so far gone, so severed. And then one more couple, and then an interesting friendship dynamic, which I've been in. Darcy and Georgie. Man, it's been such a long time with them. They were together, they broke up, they were together, they broke up. Or no, sorry, they just were together once, I think. Then they suddenly got married. And we didn't see that on camera, but now they're back and they're going to Bulgaria because that's where he's from. And I mentioned them last time. She needs to be more conservative. And even here in this episode, he says, what was it? Where was it? Oh, shoot. I don't have it here. Something about how she will look like a stripper whore. Because of how she dresses, and if she walks that way into his family's home in Bulgaria or even on the street. Anyways, I do find that kind of cute that they had this fight and they boarded that plane happy. They kind of made it work. But it starts off the whole thing with her being with this other friend, Roxy, I think is her name. I still don't know her name for sure. But we'll call her that, who is also married to a Bulgarian and who also wears crop tops and tight clothes and all that stuff. But she also doesn't have extremely augmented boobs and butts and face. But anyways, and she I feel like is a great influence on Darcy because, you know, she is dressing however she feels like dressing and all this stuff, but she also recognizes the balance and, you know, to like morph, and that your worth is not necessarily how you're dressing and how you look. And it's interesting because for Darcy, she says there's even this whole thing about lashes. She wears like fake lashes that are sewn on or something, and she doesn't look great without lashes, because she even said she's older, so a lot of her lashes fell out. And I think it's not just that, but even when you do implants or you mess with your lashes, they also fall out. So I do admit she doesn't look great. I think also she doesn't look great without lashes because she has like her eyebrows tinted so dark. It looks so bad. But when she has such big lashes, like it kind of balances out. I think she could have gone even less, but she couldn't. She's such a kind of a classic case of someone who cannot accept her own beauty and herself. And she says that she doesn't want to change, you know, going, like, she wants to be respectful of his family, but she doesn't want to change herself. And because she loves herself, so don't ask her to change. I think she's talking to Georgie in a confessional, and I'm like, girl, you don't love yourself if you are saying that he's asking you to change who you are because of what you wear. He's not even telling you, hey, take your boobs out. He's just saying, hey, can you dress them a little bit more conservatively? Can you get a little bit of less eyelash? I don't even actually know if he was the one that initiated the eyelashes. It sounded like just something that she thought of, like, oh, I'll go this extra mile. But that is not loving yourself when you literally cannot be yourself. You have to put all of this other stuff on. That is not who you are. That is not loving yourself. When you put yourself through all these surgeries to change who you are, that is not loving yourself. To add more boobs, more butt, less this, less that, that is not loving yourself. That is the opposite of loving yourself. And so then she gets to the apartment or whatever, their home, and they're packing, I guess. And she shows him that she has this very low cut. Basically, all her boobs are out, but she has this fluffy coat that goes on top that doesn't cover the boobs, but covers everything that was already covered. Literally, she's like, I think it was like maybe even long sleeve or something. Maybe not long sleeve, but everything was covered head to toe, except for her head and her boobs. It's like, I don't know. I understand Georgie. I understand it. I also appreciate that he's like, I'm not asking you to change with me here. Just like when you go to my country that is more conservative, and they'll think that you're a stripper whore, is literally his words, not mine. If you dress the way that you're dressing, like here. And he says that she's like, you look, I even got like less eyelashes or shorter eyelashes. And he's he was so funny in the confessional. He's like, I'm 100% sure that my parents are not gonna notice your big cleavage, your stripper shoes, and your short skirt just because you have less eyelashes on. And then he's so like, vulnerable. He's like, you don't respect what I say. Bulgaria will think you're a stripper whore, which I know the internet will like blame him for. I don't like strongly disagree. Maybe I don't know that those were the exact words he should have used, but if you hear it in context, I think it's one of the moments where he's extremely exasperated. And I've been there, at least. Maybe I'm just projecting, but like when you're so like, you just have no, I did that earlier today. You're just so exasperated that you do not care to, choose your words wisely. It's not even what you necessarily think per se, but you just have less filter, because I think he really does love her. Although people say that, he's cheating on her. I don't know. We'll see. But he seems like he really is not coming from a bad place, and from a place controlling, like her sister's husband is very controlling. Very, like, Georgie seems really, really nice and good. But again, we'll see. And then she says, I think this trip means everything to Georgie, and she starts crying because she has so much love to give. And she wants his parents to feel her love and how much she cares for their son and blah, blah. And she starts crying. And it's just weird when they cry, just because it just feels like just an odd moment, or like an unexpected, it just kind of comes out of nowhere, and it just feels odd for some reason. But I did feel happy, I guess, that she had that sentiment and awareness, and that she cares for him. But I think it's that fight of like just her insecurity and just her misguided way of loving herself. And then finally, the not throuple, like three people, like three couples in Miami. Lauren and Alexi, Andre and Elizabeth, and Yara and Jovi. Which Yara and Jovi have barely made it onto the show. I think they're supporting characters. I don't know if they're like fully on the show. But it's like girls' night out. And so the guys come and babysit the kids, and the girls go. I actually wasn't looking. I think they went to a strip club or something, which is so ironic because Yara had, if you know, you know, Yara and Jovi and strip clubs. But they talk on the way there. They talk there about this whole like moving to Moldova. I almost said it like the American way, Moldova. But before I get to that, I really loved how Andre, I think, and people behind the scenes say that Andre is not what you see him be on camera, and it's not necessarily because he's acting for the camera, but it's just the edits and stuff. And I believe it, like the way this guy talks to these children, you saw like, because when he's handling the situation with the children, you know, it's one thing when like it's in couples because you can rehearse it, or you can be scripted or somewhat scripted or whatever. But the children thing, like, you can't control children, and he was just talking and reacting to the children. I think also like in the first season of them, like he was a bit more short with the children, or with her, I don't remember. His tone of voice, his words, he de-escalated. He was not phased, like he was just calm, cool, collected, and he was just so good with those kids. But the irony, and Jovi found the irony in this, and it was so funny for him too. Andre's one kid, Winston, bit Alexi's son or daughter, I think son. He just bit him. He's like, he's just at that age where this is how he shows love. And but Andre was so nice, went to Alexi's, and also how these guys were like all together. It was just so like refreshing. But he goes to this guy's son and is like with him, and just like so soft and so kind and so like there for the kid. And then he walks away, and his son bites another child, I think. And he finally takes his son, and also doesn't scold him, but also is like saying that it's wrong, you know, in his own way. But I think that the son was like super young. I don't know. He looked super young. He looked younger than everyone else there, I think. So I don't know how much he would understand anyways of like right or wrong, but yeah, I don't know. I was just impressed. I was highly impressed, but I also found it so funny, the irony. And I said, Andre is so nice with the kids, the way he speaks to them, et cetera, et cetera. And then, so the girls, this is the we're at the final stretch. Oh, and Lauren is Alexi's wife. She starts the whole segment of their segments with Noga, whatever her name is, her friend, and they're saging. She says that she got like a big sage bunch or whatever for extra removing of the negative energy and negative people. And I just didn't appreciate that. I don't like Lauren. I just don't like her. I think she's actually like a nice, or like a good, in her own way, she's a good person. I think she's, yeah, I don't know. I think she has just some issues and just some things that it just annoys me. Just lack of awareness. I don't know. And then they talk about how Andre spoke to Noga and how like she should have defended her friend more, like because she was defending her, blah 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 blah. And Lauren saying that Andre is seeing himself as superior and alpha and like the man, and he has to control, is so laughable and like painfully laughable, because I think she's highly projecting, because I think she has issues with Alexi. Because I said, girl, your own husband, what about him? Because her husband, like, they're even like on behind the scenes when they're just pillow talk, they're just reacting to other seasons. She has a lot of resentment. There's a lot. And his mentality is I don't like him either. I don't think that he would not be someone that I would want to be with either. That's all I'll say. But then they get into this girls' night out, whatever. They get into this taxier van, and they start talking about, hey, sorry, like that escalated. And Elizabeth said, you know, yeah, like I just I don't think that, like, I know that my husband can get riled up or whatever, but I don't think he said anything that bad. And I think Lauren said, like, what are you talking about or whatever. Yara was like, what did Andre even say that was crazy? Because I didn't hear, like, I didn't hear anything crazy. And Lauren's face is like, and in the confessional, she calls Yara deaf, that she's like delusional or whatever. And I'm like, no, you are delusional, or you are like, what are you? I didn't hear anything that he did that was like attacking Lauren. And but again, it was like cut, a lot of it edited, so maybe in between the cuts, but Yara didn't hear it. And then you can also say Yara is Ukrainian, so maybe it's a Eastern European thing. But you'll see later, because I think it's a Lauren projection thing. And not so much Yara just missed something because she, took it for granted or whatever. And Yara even says that she hopes that her Lauren's friend Noga doesn't show up. And I was like, yeah, smart Yara. And then they get to whatever the club is or whatever. And then they sit down, and the conversation gets brought up again. Lauren thinks that it's not in Elizabeth's best interest to go to Moldova, that she's going there for her family while he's going there for selfishly, himself, for selfish reasons. And she's selfless, Elizabeth. And Yara's like, but what if she likes it? And Elizabeth says that like, yeah, like when I go on vacation, like I do say like, oh, like I could live here, I would love to live here. So we see this moment, this snapshot of like, oh, okay, so it's not that bad. It's not like this guy is just forcing his wife to move to some, or even consider moving to a place that she just hates. It's not like that. And then Yara says, like, you're like in Europe. You literally just get in your car and you can like go. I don't know if Moldova is in the European Union, but like more or less you can go, through Europe. You have all of the European countries there, is in Yara's mind. I think because she loved that and she wanted to move back to Ukraine. Not now, but she wanted to when she came here. And yeah, and so Lauren, again, big eyes, like, oh my gosh, how can Yara say that? She's encouraging Elizabeth, and she's not, like, a friend should be there for her friend, for like her best interests or whatever, instead of like, I don't know what she said that Yara was doing instead, just encouraging Elizabeth to do something against her best interests, I guess. And that Elizabeth needs to learn to stand up for herself, like because they are both married to Eastern European men. Because I think Alexei is like Ukrainian or Russian as well, but he was in Israel and his family is in Israel. But yeah, so they're both married to Eastern European men, and they just need to, she just needs to, have that support to stand up to her man, just like Lauren has had to learn to. And I said, no, you're not there for Elizabeth's best interests, are you? You just outed yourself that you are there for you. You're projecting this is what happens in friendship sometimes. And I so related to Elizabeth. And Elizabeth said, like, Lauren's crossing over her boundaries and she needs to have a talk with her about it because it's not okay. And I love Elizabeth. I think she is such a mature communicator. I just love her. But yeah, I related to that too, where a friend just is blinded by their own pain, by their own projection, and they're just kind of telling you, and they think they're doing it in your best interest, and in their mind they are, but they're not, because they're not listening to what you need. I mean, I've had that with my mom, although interestingly with my past relationship, she was mostly like hands off in that sense, but I've had that with like one of my friends that I just kind of gave up on telling her stuff because I just realized she's just not able to differentiate, and she's not able to be there and support me in what is actually good for me and what I actually need. And she's just kind of there projecting what she would have done, what she would do, what she thinks is happening, etc., etc. And it comes from a good place, but it was more damaging than not. But yeah, I think Yara was a much better friend to Elizabeth, and she wasn't taking anything personal. She said, like, why would you move to Moldova in the first episode? And then in this episode, it's like, well, maybe she likes it. Maybe she'll like it there. And that means she's differentiated. She doesn't have a stake in it. If Elizabeth moves there and loves it, great. If she doesn't love it, okay, she'll support her in that. Like, she'll just, like, you know, be there for her. Meanwhile, Lauren is just pushing this, like, Moldova, though. Like, that's the worst country. I don't even understand. I think it's not even the country. I think it's just in Lauren's mind, the idea that this man is controlling her. You know, it's like this alpha male thing. I don't, it's just, she's in a toxic world, toxic feedback loop, Lauren, you know. And yeah, she's also like with Israel and stuff, so she's just not very self-aware and like open-minded for sure. So that is 90 Day Fiance catch up. I did debate on doing this separately tomorrow, but I kind of, knowing myself, knew that unlikely I would come back. So I might like put these in two separate videos. I don't know, but yeah, I knew myself too well to know that I wasn't going to record again tomorrow. And yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for sticking around. I don't know. I just love this topic so far. I don't know. Sometimes I get bored of 90 Day too. But that's like, I don't know. It's just like fits more with my life. Just like the Blake Lively and Justin thing did at one point, and they still do in some point, but just not to the extent of like every little minutia, or, you know, to analyze it for like 2-3 hours or whatever. So anyways, I'm going to go now, which always feels so abrupt. I hate it. But yeah, maybe I need to like figure out something like good outro script or something that doesn't feel so like weird. But yeah, thank you guys for sticking around. Thank you for anyone that's listening in the bushes, as P would say, because I see some more of you here. Thank you for the replay. Leave a comment, replay especially. Leave a dolphin in the comments. Sorry about my body today. And have a wonderful night. Thank you guys. Maria, and Arnaldo, thank you. Peace, love, and compassion, and empathy. And see you Friday. Yeah, see you Friday. Bye.